Good morning, everyone. I hope you are all doing great. So, welcome to the DAG Meetup. We'll be starting in a few minutes, 4 minutes left. So, just be ready. Ritika,
Hey Francis, good morning.
good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, thank you. How about you?
I'm doing well. I hope you're ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay. She's the first speaker in a few minutes. We will start while the others join us because, in the interest of time, we have a very tight schedule. So we'll just proceed in a few. Let me just do a short introduction on Dynamics user group so that we can be able to understand for those who have they have no idea about the Dynamics user group. So this is a meetup for the Dynamics user group Kenya. It's part of the global Dynamics user group. Just a minute. So Dynamics user group empowers everyday users, administrators, developers, and partners with tools and information required to excel in their professions. Online discussion forums, video content, training programs, live, interactive, virtual, and in-person events are just some of the resources members enjoy with their free membership. So you can join for free for in the Dynamics user group, global community. Uh, Here, the Meet Dynamics user group. So we build community, encourage connection, and we are empowering education. So it was founded in 1995, the Dynamics user group. Okay, it's an industry long serving independent Microsoft Dynamics community. Began as an online discussion forum and has since expanded to provide video content, training programs, interactive virtual and in-person events, regional meetups, sponsorship opportunities, and more. So DAG is a free community for users, implementers, and resellers of Microsoft business application, and it's our mission to support the Microsoft Dynamics 365, Dynamics GP, and the Power Platform community of application users and professionals by empowering community members with the tools and information required to excel and grow in their profession. So you can just search on your Google for Dynamics user group and you can join. It's a free online community. They have so many resources that can help you in the different domains that you like to learn, Dynamics and the Power Platform and the Dynamics GP as they are portraying here. And there are different programs in DAG. They are virtual and in-person, free online discussion forums. There is a YouTube channel as well. There are all-in partner membership support, regional meetup for anyone to join, on-demand conference sessions, recordings, and more. And again, so there will be a Dynamics Con next year in 2023. So it will be a physical event. Okay. So people have started some session submissions. And then from January 2023, people will vote and they decide on the agenda. March 2023, the Dynamics Con event will be done on, it will be a spring event, the 5th virtual event bringing the DAG global community together. So in March 2023, in the meetup group, there is a link that has already been shared for you to attend. So for those who like to attend physically, they can also be able to attend. So I think that's it for my introduction. We'll learn more about DAG from the meetup group. I'll share a link to the Dynamics user group. But please join because this is a free community for you to learn and there are free resources available. I don't know if Shadrack has joined the meeting. Shadrack? Okay, it seems he hasn't joined. He's the leader of the Power Platform Kenya meetup. So if he could have joined, he'll introduce, but we'll introduce him later. So at this juncture, I would like to welcome Ritika Agarwal. I hope I've mentioned your name correctly. She is a Microsoft MVP of business applications in the Power Platform. She will introduce herself. She's from India, all the way from India. So, Ritika, please welcome and take it over.
Thank you, Francis, and thank you for having me over here today. I am very excited to share my knowledge with the people on the call, and I hope, we'll get in touch later also in case there are any questions. So I will share
Yes,
my
yes, yes.
screen. Mhm.
Just a minute. Shadrack is around. Just a minute.
Okay.
Just let's give him like a few minutes to introduce the Kenyan platform user group for those who would like to join. I believe we should also be members. Shadrack, are you able to unmute?
Yeah, hi Msangi.
Hi, how are you?
Sorry, I'm in a physical meeting, so I just had to move away a bit. So yeah, so thank you so much Msangi for having me here. So my name is Shadrack Kiprotich, Microsoft MVP under the business applications category, and I am also the leader of our platform user group community in Kenya, where it's a group of enthusiastic community about like who are passionate about Power Platform, and also like people who would like to incorporate Power Platform into their career. So regardless of their backgrounds, they can also incorporate Power Platform development into their careers. So yeah, I guess that's it. So like I don't see any of like my team here, but like once they can be able to join, like can be able to see them. So let me just like put a face on this. So yeah, that's me. So I'm looking forward to learning today and also interacting with all of you and getting to learn more. And I see we have also like Julia Murieri on the call. She's also a group leader for the community, and we are so much privileged to be working with the Dynamics community in Kenya. So cheers.
Thank you, Shadrack. Thank you, Shadrack, and members of the Power Platform User Group Kenya. You are most welcome. And Ritika, please take it over.
Is it visible, Francis?
Yes, yes,
Okay,
yes.
perfect. Welcome everybody to Microsoft Dynamics 365 Kenya Power Platform user group. And today I'm going to start a little bit on the application side of Power Platform, and we will see how you can create applications which can be accessed on various devices with following a simple few steps. So before we start, a little bit of introduction. As Francis already mentioned, I am a Microsoft MVP and MCT for business applications. Other than that, I work as a Power Platform consultant, and I am also the user group leader for Hyderabad Power Platform user group. If you would like to connect with me, you can scan the QR code for LinkedIn here, and you can follow me on Twitter. In case there are any questions for me, you can reach out to me on agarwalritika08 at the rate gmail.com. Other than that, I do have a personal blog which is agarwalritika.com, and here I like to write about the things I find interesting on Power Platform. So if there is anything which can help you, please check it out and let me know in case of any questions. So, moving on to the session details, I'll be covering two types of application in this session. The first one is going to be a relatively shorter one, given the number of steps we have to follow. And then after that, I will focus on the second kind of application. So, if we talk about the Power Platform ecosystem, there are different kinds of applications you can create. It can be something you create for your user base. It could be something you create for your administrators, something for the people inside your organization. Or there can be some kind of applications which are for everybody, like external users. So, in any case, you would like to build an application, there are various options available for you on Power Platform. And the first one we are going to talk about is called as model driven app. This is a kind of application which you can build in a few steps, I would say, and then you can create really powerful application which runs on various rules and has processes along with it. My session, it will be more on a hands-on experience basis, so I will be showing you the demos rather than going through the slides, so that it is easier for you all to understand. And in case there are any questions, please drop those on the chat. Okay, so model-driven apps, an overview. Let's take it to the browser. Now, whenever you start working on a Power Platform application, the first thing you set up is the environment where actually your application will reside. So here I have a developer type environment for me, Ritika Agarwal's environment, and this is a free environment which you can get via a Microsoft licensing plan. It's free and it can be used for your personal apps automation. It can be for your learning purposes, etc. I will share a link later in the chat through which you can see how you can create your own developer environment. Here you can set up everything, but it is only for personal usage. None of your production applications should be deployed here. So this is the environment I'm using. And because we are first building a model driven app, the first thing we need to take care of is the data. Any application you build, whether it's on Power Platform or elsewhere, every time you have to understand what kind of data you are collecting. And in this first kind of application, model driven apps, the data source is going to be Microsoft Dataverse. We'll get to the second type of application in some time, but for this one, it is only Microsoft Dataverse which can be hosted. Now, if you ask me if there is a limitation, why would I use a model driven app? So in that case, the answer to that would be there are many powerful features that comes with model driven apps. First thing is it's responsive in design. Whether I open it on a mobile device or a desktop device or a laptop device, everywhere it will understand the screen orientation and size, and it will adjust the app settings for me. Second, I don't need to worry about the user interface much because the steps I am following to create an application, they have they set up the user interface by default. Let's start with a very simple one and then we can see how you can modify it. This is my Dataverse table. So in my developer environment, I have tables, and in this I have one contractor table. For this contractor, I have a number of columns, just like anything, whether you're using a SQL server earlier or maybe even an Excel sheet, every data you store, it, I would say 90% of the times the data you're storing, it is in the form of tables. So here also I have a table called as contractor, and it has several columns to store the properties of each contractor. Now, when I want to create a model-driven app on this table, I will open the Maker experience again on make.powerapps.com. Always make sure you have selected the right environment, which is this one in my case, and I will go to apps. From here, I can do new model-driven. So just until this point, I selected what kind of application I would like to create. Then it asks me the name of my application. So I can say contractor management. So this is an application I'm creating for the contractor data. I can provide it a description if I want and then create. This will start provisioning my application, and now it's up to me. What do I want to add inside of it? Let's give it a few seconds while it is. Okay, can you please mute? Thank you.
Mzungu. Kila kampuni si ni mzungu.
Francis, can you please check who is unmuted and mute them?
It's okay, kampuni ndogo tu.
Someone is unmuted. Let me check.
Okay,
Please
thank you.
proceed. Okay.
All right. So this is the interface we get when we are trying to create a model-driven app. And here there is a concept called as navigation. So the first thing we learned was the data source we need is Microsoft Dataverse. The second thing is the navigations. That's what matters inside a model-driven app. So here, if I expand, I have groups and sub areas. We'll get to that later, but at this point, I want to show that table on my app on my application. So I'll select the sub area and say the content type is table. The table is contractor. I can search for it. And then what is the title I want to provide here? Contractors. And that's it. Save. Once it is saved, we will publish it. The difference between save and publish is when you save, it only saves it in the dev, like in the development editor. Whereas when you publish, it is pushed to the live application. And when I say live application, it's not the production environment, but in this environment only. So I am publishing it. Once it is published, we will play it. If I play it now, you can see I have an application where I have the navigation on the left side, then my table is displaying here. I have several records in the contractor list. If I select one of these, I can see the details behind that specific record. So all these columns, name, company account, hire date, termination date, icon, phone number, etc., they are all coming from Microsoft Dataverse. So if I want to say I want to build a model driven app, it starts with Dataverse because that's what we are going to show here. Then on the basis of the table, you can configure which fields will be displayed. So for example, if I want to change this user experience, there is a concept called as view. I have it open here. So as you can see, I only have name, email, and company account here. If I also want to add the hire date, it's all drag and drop. So I dragged and dropped the hire date onto the view editor. And once I save and publish, this should be reflected in the model driven app. Here, the idea is you can create an application without having to write a single line of code. And that's what we are seeing here. We are just dragging and dropping controls and setting up the navigations in a way where everything is self-aligned on the application when it is played. Like when I published it, let's refresh and see if we can see the latest changes. And yes, here is our hire date. So now I can manage an application which I can control with just a few clicks. And if I, like in this case, I just had this contractor table. So I added only one navigation. But if I have more, I can go back to my editor and say, okay, I want to add another sub area. And here there are a couple of options. I can add a table. If there is a dashboard, even if it's a Power BI dashboard, it can be added. If it's a custom page, it's a concept where you can embed a page, just like a Canvas app. We'll talk about the Canvas apps next. You can add it. It can be a web resource for styling and an external URL. So all the things can be added. Here I'm going to add another table. Let's say accounts table and add. That's it. Save and publish. Once I publish, this will all be pushed to the application, like the play version of my app. Just waiting for the publish to complete. Okay, published. Now if we come here, and I have the accounts table. Similarly, account table has its own set of columns. I can add a new record, and here I have a form where I can provide the details of each column from my account table. Similarly, if I go to contractors and open one of the records, I see the form here for contractors. And similarly, there is an editor for the forms as well, where you can select how you want to configure it. Like maybe I want to keep the phone here. That is also drag and drop. Save, and once it is saved, we will publish. There are many types of controls which can be added to a model driven app. And as you play around with the model driven app, you will understand how this is all set up. There are many things which can be done in case, the functionality is not supported out of the box. But in my experience, the features you get with model driven app, they are enough to build a very powerful application. So now if I open this, my phone is shifted towards the right side. And the best part of a model driven app, let's inspect this so that I can view it in a mobile manner. See, this is automatically adjusted. I have not done anything with respect to user interface, but still my app is built in a way where I can click on it and it is opened in a mobile friendly view. If I keep increasing the width, or maybe I'll say responsive, if I keep increasing it, you can see that this is, getting adjusted on the basis of screen size. See, that is the beauty of a model driven app. You can build an application where you are only concerned about the data and the processes that will follow along with it. So that is what you can build using a model driven app. There can be other things like I only want to show the hire date uh, when the company account is maybe ABC. So those kind of rules can be added. There can be various processes. I think I have one in the out of the box setup. So let's check. Okay, no process is there, but you can add like a stage-wise implementation on the model-driven app again without writing any line of code. So the model-driven apps are purely low-code, no-code applications. You can add customizations in case it's a requirement and the functionality is not supported out of the box in a model-driven app. But otherwise, in my experience, most of the things can be done right here. Because as you can see, you have so many specialized controls through which you can select the data. You have like a drop down, you have text fields, you have lookups where you can select related records directly. So the model driven apps are very intelligent when it comes to creating an application where the main focus is on completing the whole process. With that said, now let's move on to the second kind of application we have in our scenario, which is a Canvas app. As we build the Canvas app, I will show you how it differs from a model-driven app and where you would use a Canvas app and model-driven app and a basic difference between the two. So first, let's see what a Canvas app is, and then we will talk about the differences. Okay, so let's go back here and now I will refer to one file which I have in OneDrive. So in many scenarios, you may have also encountered something like using an Excel file for keeping the records. And in some cases, you may have a database where everything is stored. Depending on the scenario and the requirements, you can have your own data source of your choice. Now, how we can integrate it with Power Platform is with the help of a Canvas app. So if I talk about the first difference here, it's on the database. For your model-driven app, it is only going to be Microsoft Dataverse. Whereas for Canvas app, it can be Dataverse and other data sources along with it. Now, when I'm trying to create the application, it is asking me for the name. So let's call it Flooring Estimates app. It asks me whether it is going to be a tablet view or a phone view. Why is that a requirement here and not on a model driven app? The reason is on the model driven app, it's responsive in design. Whereas the Canvas app, it's not responsive by nature. When I say not responsive in nature, it does not limit its functionality in any way. The only difference is if I select a tablet view application and I open it on a mobile device, I'll have to tilt my phone by 90 degrees so it comes in a landscape mode, like wider width, because that's a tablet screen size. Whereas if I select phone and I open that on the on the laptop or desktop device, I will have some extra spaces on both sides. To show you the responsiveness side by side, I'm not going to select tablet view here. I'm going to select the phone view. Like I want to create my app in a phone manner. If you ask me, okay, what if I want to create an application which is responsive in Canvas apps? That is also a feature which is available, and I'll showcase that in a few minutes. I'll select phone and create. So now this is provisioning my Canvas application. And here I want to bring the data from this Excel file on OneDrive. So I will do this data, then OneDrive for business, because this is an organizational account. So we have OneDrive for business and connect. Then it will fetch me the details of all the files which are on OneDrive. I have this flooring estimate. Currently, there is only one file, so it's the one which is displaying. But if you have more, this shows you the whole list of files. So I select the file, and anytime you want to bring the data from an Excel file to a Canvas app, it has to be formatted as a table. So this flooring estimates I'm selecting here, this is my table. And let's also see what is there in the file. I'll open it. So I have a sheet with a table where I have the estimates details. So there is a name, category, price, image, etc. So I have several columns here. Now let's go back here and come back to the editor. As you can see, this is a blank Canvas app I created. So there is nothing on the screen. If I play it right now, I see nothing because this is an app which I started from scratch. Now let's build it. So this is one way you can add the controls. Otherwise, if you are more comfortable with the left navigation here for adding the controls, this is the one you can use. I can add a label. So here, Canvas app is like, now it's up to my imagination how I want to build the application. So the user interface, it is by default built in a model-driven app, whereas on the Canvas app, I will have to create it on my own design guideline. So I can say this is the title. I'm saying flooring estimates. Then I want to make it center aligned. Font should be Arial, size 26. Then I want bold. See, this is how you are creating your application. It's nothing like you have to write any code for the design. There is some code you will write in the Canvas app. We call it Power FX. It's for applying the logic to your controls and everything. So I'll say the font color is black and the background I want to fill with this yellow color. So now it looks like an application header to me. Okay, now we want to show the data from this Excel file on my application. So for that, I have a gallery control which I can use. Gallery control is like You have repeatable set of data coming from a data source and you want to show it on one by one basis. So gallery is designed in a way where I can only customize the first item. Whatever changes I make on the first item, that will be reflected on all items. So like this. So I'll say this is related to my flooring estimates. And now you can see it has the details coming from the Excel file. And we can customize it in a way like on the image, I have the image column, which is fine. But the subtitle should be the price. The title should be the name. And I can also do more customizations here. For example, this should be a concatenation of category. So this item dot category and is for concatenation and the price. This item dot price. Okay, I missed a M% here. So now, as you can see, it is showing carpet dash 8.1, but that is not a very fine uh, number value. So I'll say I want to format it as dollar, then 00.00, or maybe hash. So I am basically specifying how I want to format my data. So this is a regex I'm providing here. And now as you can see, it is showing me the details as the carpet is dollar 8 and 10 cents and the same for everything. I can also do customizations like this is the formulas I'm writing, it's the power effects. You can check the Microsoft documentation for all the formulas that are supported. But if you have worked with Excel formulas in the past, understanding this would be like a piece of cake for you. So I'll say if this item dot price is greater than 10, I want to show it in red, otherwise show it in the black color. Okay, none of the prices are greater than 10. Let's try 4. So now if you see, some of the rows are highlighted. This is how I am controlling what kind of design will be there on my application. And if I come back to the point where we were talking about responsiveness, as you can see, I selected a mobile format. Now, when I'm playing this on a desktop device, this is just so much extra space for me. I am not utilizing my whole screen size. So the app works on various devices, even if I have selected a specific format, but the design is something which we have to change if we want to make it responsive. So now, how will I make this page as responsive? I can go to the display and say, I don't want to lock the aspect ratio and scale to fit the application. This will make sure the app is scaled to the available screen size. Okay, let's play this now. See, this is on the extreme left. It's not even showing on the whole screen. So we can make it responsive. Plus, if you see, there is some extra space on the bottom because the height was threshold at this point for the previous screen. How we can add this? So we can select each control and we have position coordinates here like X, Y, width and height. So I'll say the X is 0, Y is 0, but the width is going to be app dot width. So whatever is the size of my app, that will be the size of controls on my screen. And for this, I'm saying the height is 70. Okay, now if I play this, the flooring estimates is expanded onto the whole screen, but this gallery is not. So I can come back, select the control again, say the width is app dot width, and then the height is app dot height minus the height of my header. So that is the one. Plus, I can do something like reference coordinates. So the y of this is going to be label1 dot y plus its height, so that the gallery control is always beneath the header I have here. So when I play this app now, it is adjusted. But again, I would say it's not a very good user experience when it comes to viewing, because I have so much extra space again on the screen. As a developer, you can go in and try out many things as you want. There is a property called as wrap count, and I can say if the app dot width is greater than 640, then show three items in one row, otherwise show only one item. So when I have the mobile view in the preview here, I can see only one. But as soon as I play it, it has three different items displaying in the single row. And that is a better utilization of my screen size, because now I have the screen divided into various sections and I can view the details properly. So with the help of power effects, you can control the responsiveness of your canvas application. Now, if you want to add more screens, so if you understand the difference, on the model-driven apps, I was not doing anything like this. I was just selecting the components I would like to add to my application, and that's it. Whereas here on the Canvas app, I have various screens, and I am the one who is dragging and dropping controls and customizing the whole user experience. So I can copy this flooring estimate and paste it on screen 2. Control C, Control V works. And because I copied it with the formulas and everything, this is automatically adjusted. Then in the insert menu, you can explore various kinds of controls, like you have forms, you have inputs, you have date pickers, buttons. For display, there is HTML text, form pros. In the layout, you have different option types. You can add image controls, audio recording devices, video players, etc. Everything on this application. Then you have shapes and icons. Whatever you need, you can bring it to your canvas for defining the user interface of your application. So now, one last change I'm going to do here is I want to see the details, like the all the fields of my records. So what I'm going to do is there are two types of forms. If I search the forms here, you will see one edit form and one display form. Edit form is for making changes to this Excel file, whereas display form is just for read-only purposes. So if I say I want to add an edit form, and I can expand it on the whole screen, or I can say the width is app.width, height is app.height minus 70. So I have the form, and now I'm saying this form is related to the flooring estimates table. I can add my fields here and say category, name, overview, price, and image. Save. All the fields are going to be added on the form now. Okay. Here, there is one thing I'll need to do, which is which item to edit. So the one which is selected in the gallery. So gallery 1 dot selected. As you practice more and more on the Canvas app, you will also get familiar with the various expressions which are supported. So now instead of this being a delete icon, I'll say this is a edit icon. And when I select this, I want to navigate to my screen number 2. Okay. And on the screen 2, I'll add another icon. So insert submit icon, or this check icon. Okay, no, I want to add it outside. this one here and say on this I want to submit my form, which is the form 1. Sorry, form 1. All right, and once it is submitted, like once it is successful, the form, there is on success property. So there are various properties for you to leverage. Then I want to navigate to my screen number 1. When I have submitted the form, I want to go back to the previous screen. Let's test it out. So let's edit this. And then form is not responsive, so I can change it, but I'll say the name is updated dash this. And when I click on this submit icon here, it takes my changes, updates it on the Excel file, and as I can see, this is updated. But let's verify the Excel file. So here also I have updated dash Caserta stone beige. This is how you can create a Canvas application which is according to your design, connecting to the databases of your choice, and then you can build anything. You can connect anything. Like I can connect OneDrive and Dataverse together in the same application. So there are many things which can be done on on a Canvas application when it comes to design and user interface. So if you ask me now, which kind of application should I build? I would say it depends on the requirements. So let's talk about a few scenarios. The first one is I want to build an application for leaves, or maybe let's say reimbursement. So I want to create an application for reimbursements. As a person who is creating reimbursements, there are only limited set of tasks I need to do. As an individual, I will need something to create new reimbursements. Second, to view all my reimbursements and their statuses. For that, a Canvas app can be a good option because you can have customized user interface. Whereas for the accounting team, because they are not really worried about the user interface, but the kind of processes that will run on their data, I would say for the HRs or for the managers or for the accounting or finance team, you create a model driven app. So depending on what is the use of your application, you can decide whether it's going to be a Canvas app or it's going to be a model driven app. The identical thing about the two is it can only be accessed by people in your organization. So if you say, I built an app and I want to share it with a client, no, you cannot share it directly. You will have to add them as a guest user and then only they can see your applications, because both model driven and Canvas applications, they are for the people inside your organization. So that's what I wanted to cover with respect to model driven app and Canvas applications. And Francis, if we have any questions on the chat, I think we have 5 to 6 minutes and we can take those.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ritika. So it has been so informative, being able to build applications so fast. And
Mhm.
yes, so if there's anyone with a question, they can unmute and ask, because on the chat there's no question so far.
Okay.
Hello, Msangi and Ritika.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Ritika, having heard from you. Perhaps I'll have maybe like 1 or 2 questions that will make
Okay.
clarity before. So my first question is, are there different versioning of these Canvas or model-driven apps in collaborative to setting when there are regular updates?
Mhm. So with respect to model-driven apps, the functionality of versioning is not yet supported, but for Canvas app, you can have various versions. So there is every time you save and publish, it creates a new version and it is kept in the version history. So If I created this app right now and I go to the applications, maybe I can show for one of the previous Canvas apps. If we go to the details, there is versions, and we can see how many versions were saved for a specific application. If let's say I made some change and it broke my whole application, I can anytime come here and restore one of the previous version. So this is a feature which is only supported for the Canvas apps as of today. Sorry, I hope that answers your question.
Oh, yeah, all right. Thanks, Ritika. I've got that clarity. Yeah, I think my question is well answered. Maybe in a nutshell, is there any concept of security role on the various apps, more specifically on the two apps that you've mentioned, that's the model-driven and the Canvas app?
Okay, yes, that's a very good question with respect to security. Okay, so when we are sharing a model-driven app, let's wait for this to load first. I have this contractor management. If I share it with people, there are several things. One is like I can share it with various security roles that exist in the environment. So I can select, like currently it only gives access to administrators and customizers, but I can provide access to other people as well. These roles will be assigned to the user. So let's say Ritika Agarwal, if I want to provide access to person ABC, I can say they belong to business application platform role. I will assign the role to them, and this role is already added on my application. That means the person will have access. With the help of security roles, we can also configure what kind of permissions, like is it going to be just to read permission, write permission, delete permission, etc. So we can granularly define the permission levels as well. Whereas for a Canvas app, sorry, I'm just getting some um, calm here. But when we share the Canvas app with someone, there we have two options. One, whether we want to share it in a way where the person can edit the application or they can just use it. The data level permissions has to be managed on the data source itself, whether it's an Excel file, it's a Dataverse table, or it's a SharePoint list. So if I want to share this flooring estimate app with someone, I will also have to share this file with them. Otherwise, they will see nothing on the application. So the security model for model driven app and Canvas app, they are completely different.
All right. Thank you so much.
No
I have
problem.
more questions. Maybe I'll send a mail maybe later on to give room for the rest to ask if they
Uh-huh.
have questions. Maybe the
Okay.
rest I'll do a mail. But however, maybe the very last from my end. Uh,
Okay.
in Microsoft Power App, is there a way to catch data?
To like accept new responses from the users?
Yeah.
Yes, definitely there is. So in the application that I showed you, this was more like I edited the existing record. But here if I say, let's add a new button and say, I want to add a new record. So new form and then form one. New form defines that I want to add a new record. Plus there is a patch expression which you can reference also. I'll say navigate to the screen 2. And I'll close this because this should be closed when we are trying to patch something. And when I say this button, I'll say test category, test name, test overview, 12, etc. And I save it. That means I'm trying to create a new record here. And you can see this test name is added. Plus, if I open my Excel file, I have this record added. So either you use the new form function with the edit forms, or there is another function called as patch. You can check it in the Microsoft documentation that allows you to save data, new data to your data source.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Mhm.
I'm okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Nice presentation.
Thank you.
Back to you, Francis.
Ritika, you have there's another question before Gideon unmutes.
Mhm.
There's maybe you can handle them both at once. So there's, can these apps be built and actually be made available from the Play Store? You can maybe
Uh,
note that down and then
oh, okay.
answer. Maybe Gideon can ask the question so that you can handle them at once. Gideon, please
Okay.
unmute.
Okay. Hello, Ritika, I have a question.
Hello.
Can you
Yes.
integrate the app that you have built with an, let's say, a mobile payment app service to the app that you have
Uh,
made? Let's say I make a business app.
right. So you mean like integration with the payment gateway, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes, it is supported, but by default, there is no control which allows you to do that. There is a custom control which is available in the community, and you can add it on both your model-driven and your Canvas applications to make that integration possible. So it's doable, but with a custom control.
Okay,
I hope
thank you.
that answers your question, Gideon. Yep. Um,
Yeah, it's
and the
okay.
Mhm. Okay. And to the other question, whether the apps you build, they can be downloaded directly from the Play Store or App Store, whatever is available. So for that, it's not directly downloadable from the Play Stores, but there is an application called as Power App. When you download it from the Play Store or App Store in your mobile devices, you authenticate with your account, and from there you can access it on your mobile phone. So not directly from the Play Stores, but via another application called as Power Apps. You can check it out, and you will find this app in the Play Stores.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Thank you. I think
Thank-
Sim Sangi has been well answered. Uh, there is CS, I don't know the name. That was a concise and great presentation. Okay,
Okay, thank
he
you.
has confirmed, answered. Yes, and then Julia sent a link to the Power Platform User Group Kenya for those who would like to join. Okay, so thank you, Ritika. Maybe another question could be for those maybe who have never used Power Platform, what is your advice to them and they would like to explore this particular platform?
Definitely. So if you are new and you want to learn more on Power Platform, my advice would be, don't stop on just one use case. Like, you want to solve a problem, just think about it, how you can solve it, and go from there. When I started working on Power Platform, it was like that only. I was working on a project, but that was not enough. I spent some own time, and then I was exploring different features, whatever was now coming new on the platform. I was starting from there. And when I started, there was not much resources related to Power Platform because it was new, but now you have plenty of resources. And one of my best friends in that case is Microsoft documentation. You'll find everything and anything there. Just go to the documentation and follow the steps that are mentioned there. For Canvas apps specifically, refer to the formula reference and you will find each function with examples and everything. So whatever you can think of, try building it on Power Platform. There may be cases where you're not able to build it completely, but at least you'll learn something. So explore the templates, explore the work that is done by other community members, and I think it would be a great start for you to understand how it all fits in together.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Ritika. Maybe you can, the links that you had presented earlier for your blog and your LinkedIn, you can share them on the chat for those who would like to contact you with more questions. And we really appreciate. So you're from which part of India before we go to Tchesco?
I am from Hyderabad, India.
Okay, okay.
It's in the southern side, like, you'll- down south. It's towards the down south.
I'm trying to mention the name, but yes,
Hyderabad.
okay,
And
okay.
Francis, one more thing, I don't have access to the chat, so I
Ah,
will send you the links personally on LinkedIn, and then you can share it on the chat.
okay, that's fine.
Okay, all right. So thank you all. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed presenting today, and I hope we'll talk sometime later also if you have any questions.
Sure,
But
sure,
thank you,
sure, sure.
Francis, for having me here.
We appreciate, we appreciate. Thank you. We can
Thank
maybe
you.
give her reactions there on top, claps and all that as she leaves.
Thank you all.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tchesco, Tchesco, are you around?
Hi, Francis.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm doing great. So
Mm.
you are most welcome to this presentation. I believe you're covering Power Pages.
Yes.
Okay, take it over.
Okay, thank you. I
Are you able to
wanted to
share?
do some. Oh, yeah, don't worry. I think I will share. Yeah, I
Okay.
have the options. So I wanted to do some quick demo too, but it seems Power Pages is not responding. I don't know. It's
Okay.
not responding. So we will find a way out of this. Okay, so hi everyone. Let me quickly start sharing. Okay. Can you see my slide presentation?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, so come in. Just a minute, let me try and get this done. All right, so today we are going to talk about Power Pages, and my name is Tchesco. I'm just fan of talking about Power Apps and all the beautiful things that Microsoft tools give us. So let's go. What is Power Pages? Today we are going to learn a bit about it. So about me, I'm an application developer with multi-thread ICT solutions, a company that deals with Microsoft tools or technologies in Ghana. So we are a Microsoft partner. And I also design a blog, and I speak French and English. And you can link me up on Twitter, on LinkedIn, also my blog. And on my free time, I like video games, especially Warframe. But unfortunately, I don't like football. Okay, so let's quickly go to our topic of today. It is in the content you have what is the Microsoft page, then the benefit of these Power Pages, what are they, and the features that are in this type of technology, which are the Design Studio, the Template Hub, the Learning Hub, the Pro Dev tool, the securities and the governance that surround this kind of technology, and then a quick demo, which is unfortunately still loading here. Okay, so I'll keep on loading my page and refreshing and see if for it to be available for us to proceed with that too. If not, you have to make it this way. All right, so first of all, let's start with what is Power Pages. All right, so first of all, it was old, but it was new. In 2019, Microsoft announced there was something will come that is called Power Apps Portal. So when you enter your system in Power Apps to create application like what Ritika did, where you can create your model-driven app or your normal Power Apps, there were this option to there that is called Power Apps Portal. So what it does is just a tool that goes for in a website that help you design websites for your company. So internal websites for your company that helps external users to access your some resources on your company quickly. So the portal was available since 2019 to mid this year, sorry, whereby it was changed or it was renewed to a new one that is called Power Pages. That's where Power Pages came in. The Power Pages came in May. It was announced in May. We came to reinforce the Power Apps portal. So instead of you to join the Power Apps straightforward in the portals, in the like the way you see Power Apps, you people model-driven app, it was a standalone, but still with the family, you join the family of Power, the Power platform. So with this one, the database there is the Microsoft database. So we all know about Microsoft database. If you don't know, I will share a link of that soon for you to get understanding of Microsoft database. But what it does is a cloud-based data storage that help you manage organizational use scenarios. So if this is quick, easy, the database is quick, easy for you to leverage tables, and that can help you in production and co. So Power Pages is lied on straight on this kind of database. Okay, so what is Power portal? Power Pages, sorry. It's secure, enterprise grade, low code. So with the low code, meaning you can decide to do just drag and drop things in and out. So that helps you create easily. So it hosts and administrates modern external facing business websites. So instead of you, an organization, to go to an external consultant somewhere like a business, those that create business, normal websites, you can easily leverage this within your organization. The IT people in your organization can easily do this with the tools that is there because it's very simple and straightforward. So whether you are a local, you're a professional, the Power Pages is ready for you and it's very easy for you to go around it. So it's very responsive. You can have it on mobile, you can have it on desktop, you can have it on tablet. So what are the benefits of this Power Pages? It has a fast development. So with this, you just quickly do your drag and drop, and then within a day, your website is ready to go live. Then engage with external users, whereby maybe if a company has suppliers and the suppliers needs always to come back to the company for some infos, for some data, you can put this data out on your website there for the external user or your customers to check it. So maybe some of your customers may have a user ID before they can see those kind of data. So they can log in and then view those kind of data that they need for maybe the supplier may need for your company. So it connects to your data straightforward. Oh, sorry. Connect to the data straightforward right in front of. I'm messing up, I think. Sorry. It connects with your data straightforward right in your database. It's connected right from there, so you can just display it all over in your page and show the information that you want. You can also put the forms for people to, maybe if someone wants to register for an event and the company handles events and co. So you can put a form there that help people to just fill the form and then submit. So while they submit, it goes straight back to your database for you to get easy access to it. So with these two, it boosts customer service, whereby this is integrated with Dynamics 365. So you can put some of the customer service related models in Dynamics 365 inside the Power Pages for you to be easy monitoring or interacting with your customers. It is secure in terms that external people won't get access to your data without having to authenticate. So the portal is there, but before you get access to it, it will ask you in case you want to get access to some sort of data that is there, it will ask you to log in or to put your user ID or your credentials, something like that. and it's very easy to manage. You don't need to be doing this every year domain name payment, the hosting payment, and all those kind of things that comes when it's in terms of creating a website. Okay, so let's go to the features. So we have the design studio, which is an interface that is an easy drag and drop interface that goes along with it, whereby you can easily select a button and place it anywhere you want, select a text control and drop it anywhere you want, change the color of stars inside and co. You also come with a template hub whereby you can select some templates that is there already. So they just announced these Power Pages in May, so the platform is still growing. The templates are not that much available there, but as time goes on, Microsoft will still improve that side. And it has a learning hub whereby some video tutorials or some process for you to help you go along with it. And also with the learning hub, you also have some communities that are there, communities that are help in creating videos for you to go through along with it. So you will not get lost when you start working with Power Pages. So you have the Pro Dev tool also, which help you code straightforward from your Visual Studio. So if you are a Pro Dev, instead of you to do the drag and drop, you like to do the hard typing, the hard code inside, you also have that part to work on. So with the security and the governance, like I said, is very secure. You can decide to know who have access to this and that, and have control, total control of whatever your people or people are seeing on your website. So let's go with the design studio. So the design studio help you do the drag and drop. It's very simple, like you can see on the page here. You have some colon. You can decide to change this whole thing here to make it a colon, one single colon or double colon, or you can split the section here and then go to the next page and add. You can select this text here and change the text. You can add other style inside. When you just hover, it will just give you other options for you to add, maybe a button, an image control, whatever you want to add over there for your page to make it to look beautiful. So the design is very easy. You just select and you decide to do what you like, either to add a video in, either to add image control, text, button, whatever. It's just so easy for you to just quickly select it and go along with it. So you have a way for you, a simple way for you to add your colors. So it's not hard coded. You just have colors over there. You just quickly select them and then it goes. You have how to select your headers. If you want them to be big, small, the styling, the font, everything is just it is just available for you in the design studio for you to go about. This place you can just easily share business data or gather business data. So easy for you to add forms on the page for people to see, and then people to fill the form and be able to submit. Maybe is a school website, so people would like to view their details, their students' details or their report and you have the way, or there is a place for you to know how to share this kind of data to the person in need of that kind of data. Okay, so it's built on every devices, whether it is a mobile, whether it is a desktop, whether it is a tablet. It's all easy to go with. Okay, so the template hub. Let me try and see. I think it is coming now. I can show the template hub. maybe to understand how this one to works. No, still not. Okay, so with the template hub, like I said before, you have some, the page is still growing. So for now, you have some few templates in it available for people to use. So if it's for education, for school purpose, you have the template that you can use for that type. If it's for just display information related to company services, you also have those type of template for you to. If it is for filling forms, maybe like event organization and co, you also have those type over there. Okay, so you see my page is trying to come back now. All right, so here is the template that you have. So these are the templates. For now, few are here for us, but as time goes on, Microsoft will still improve this part of the template side for us to have more templates. But for now, we have at least quite enough for us to proceed with it. So like I say, if it's for education, you can use the educational one and view how it is. You see, people who would like to register for some sort of classes. So you just put the data in, you arrange it the way you think it's okay for you, and then you proceed with it. So if you want to see it in a mobile version, you can see it with, and it's very responsive, like I said. So you just need to choose any one of these, and then you proceed. Okay, so the template hub, like I was saying, the one that can quickly display things for the company, the one that can show specific services for companies, and the one that can go across cases like registration, events, or classes and co. And then it's extended within the Dynamic 365 application. So you can link some of your Dynamic 365 applications in this. And in case you don't understand or you don't know Dynamic 365 application, this meetup is good for you because Francis will be hosting more of this. Okay, so the Learning Hub. So with the Learning Hub, you have some tutorials here that shows you how to go about creating a website over here and how to go about adding data, changing stuff on the website. So you have the training videos that can help you in case you know you're not good in reading, you want to go to straight to the action where you see people doing the videos. So the pro tools. So with this, you are easily to code your website right from the VS code, the Visual Studio code. So if you are not you are a pro dev, not used to the drag and drop, or you are not a citizen developer like they said, then you can use this pro to code your app, your website. So you can edit it straight right from the website. So when you select, there is an option that gives you access to go straight to the Visual Studio, whereby you can see that page you are editing straight from where in the Visual Studio and edit it. So with that, you can easily go to the advanced tool instead of working straight from in the Visual Studio in the browser. You can easily you can go outside the browser and code your website straight from the Visual Studio. And you can also implement the way you design your website right before as a pro level. So from building, planning, and integration, deployment, and co, you can easily integrate this with Azure. That can help you in this process, Azure and DevOps. Okay, the security and the governance. So this one is easy to protect data, migrate security and mitigate security concern around website content through role-based access control and Microsoft Azure compliance and governance capabilities. So if someone is working on the website and you may not like that person to view some of the data, you know how to give access to that person. So if you want to put the data over there, but not everybody should see it, you can control those part of those part of securities to inside the Power Pages. They have the portal for you to do that, and then make sure whoever sees data related to whatever it is. Okay. So it protects against vulnerability, whereby somebody, you know, most of the time when you have a website, there's always these people that inject things inside your firewalls and co. So since it is Microsoft, it is totally secure for anybody to penetrate this. It's true, people may try to penetrate your website and co, but with this, it will be very difficult for them. I'm not even sure they can get into this because it's secured by Microsoft, you know, and since it's from Microsoft, it's highly secure in this. So it's easy to manage at this point whereby you are sure that your data or whatever it is secure. Oh, mistake over there. Come in. All right, so you can connect your website with various identity providers for B2B or listen, B2C authentication. So people can easily log in into the website via LinkedIn, via Microsoft, or via Facebook accounts. So if they have Facebook account, they can easily go to the website and log in. So maybe your supplier need to log in into your website to view maybe the quantity of item that he supplied a month ago and see if it has decreased for him to add more supply. So with this, instead of you to create an account for him, you can easily have his LinkedIn account, his Microsoft account, or his Facebook account, and easily link it to this, and then he will be easy to go. Sorry for the heading, is still keeping on protect against a vulnerability. It's supposed to be now keep data safe, where it preserves highly level compliances privacy. So everything that is data that is for the company and that is not supposed to go outside there, it will be protected and it will be safe for you. And we have the maintain governance and control. Sorry if I still have this issue over there. So a maintain governance and control, it helps ensure admin and operational owners with Microsoft Power Platform Center of Excellence Data Kit. So with this, people are easily, the admin are easily to direct whoever is supposed to have access to whatever it is. This one is right from the developers. So what to create, what to delete over there, and how to convert to production and co. These are done at this particular place whereby it is protected, and how to restrict some IPs and how to change the Microsoft Dataverse environment is easily done over here. So if this one is the Power Center of Excellence Data Kit, that gives you access to the environment where you can manage things related to the company or your company. So the inventory, it has an inventory component that are core to the governance within the central starter kit. So these key components help you administrate and manage the type of template, the type of tables, and the type of sites or pages you need to show to people or to external users. Okay, so let's go to the quick demo. All right, so if you want to access to this, you can try it up to now. It's still free. You can have a free version, I think 30 days or 90 days. So you just need to type powerpages.microsoft.com, and it will ask you to proceed with your login and activate your free trial account. So here is the home. Welcome. So we go to create. So it's quite easy here. Ask you some quick questions. What do you need your site to be able to do? So based on this kind of answers, the kind of answers you give, then it gives you the kind of website you want. You can also decide to go with a blank page, or you can decide to choose any of the templates above here. So let's go with one of the templates. Okay, so let me select this. All right, so we choose this template, proceed with tools, this template. Okay, so it will verify the permission and code. Then you can decide to give a name to your website. It comes with Power Apps portal. So like the way when you have a Microsoft account that doesn't have any domain name, it gives you your domain dot on Microsoft.com. So the website you can relate with this dot powerappsportals.com. Okay, so registration site 1, you are good to go. So it will start building a website. So when this is done, it just rests for you to just edit by switching some of the data, by replacing some of the tests that are available, by changing some of the images for your website to look or represent your company. So let's see how it goes. So if in case you want to get access to this, like I said, you can use the powerpages.microsoft.com, which will ask you to log in. While this is loading, let's see. So here is it. You just sign in. Me, I already have the account, so you can try for free. For those who don't have any PowerPage license, you just try for free, and then it shows you how to go. You can also watch some overview of the Power Pages to see how it works. All right, so our website is ready. So here you can see the page. This is the Design Studio. You can see your website. You can go to preview to see how your website look like. And at this side, you have the tools. You have the styling. This is the pages that display you all the pages that are related to your website. So the home, the admin, that is where you can see the course. You can edit the course. You can delete the course, and registered attendees. And these are other pages. Okay, so you have the styling. This is where you change the colors, you change the heading, the buttons, how they should look like, the links, the session, the margin, and the spacing. This is where we add the tables or the forms that you want to give to the external user to maybe submit and code. So tables related to contacts, and all this data is connected straight to Database. Tables related to courses. So you have the courses here, art class, Spanish, dance class. They have the registration table. This picks the name of everybody that registered to any particular classes. So you have the name of the person, and then the parents and co. So this is the table side, and this is the governance side, where you manage whoever have access to wherever it is. So how to give permission to tables to be able to be visible for others, external users and co. So this is where you can set your website if you want it to be private, if you want it to be public. All right, so let's come back to the page. So here, when you click on this, it takes you to Visual Studio. So you can name our website, the school name. So I'm putting it, let me put it dynamic. (365) user group Kenyan. Okay. So here in the logo, you can decide to choose, and then if you want to add an icon, if you want to upload an image. So let me see if I have, okay, I have this. I'm uploading the dynamic logo is uploading. Okay, so all this thing is done in the cloud, so you always need internet connectivity to go around with this. But if you are developing with the Visual Studio, it won't be necessary. So we added the picture, you change the name, you can decide to change the background of this. Let's select, click on, so we select brown. Yep, let me make it, no, normally this brown, okay. Let's just do this. Oh, there's no one. Okay. All right, so waiting for that. So what are the classes if you want to edit them, if you want to change the button here, if you want to change the style of the button. I've done something that is making this freezing. So we select this. I'm changing the style the style of the button. Wow. So all right. Okay. So this data here is populated right from, it's taken right from the data table that is the courses. So that's what is populating in the pages over here for us to view. That's what is populating in the table for us to view. So when you populate this in the table, okay, so when you change, this is art class. So you can say this is, sorry, is for art class. It is saved. So let's come to our page. All right, so it has changed. So all this data here is, this template is already done and made available. So you just need to edit some of the content, change the images in the app, in the data source, and all will be displayed in the page. I always say app because I'm used to designing apps. Sorry. Okay, so where? All right, so you can change the category. All right, so since you've selected template, it will be hard for us to edit some of the parts that are related to this this particular gallery here. So you just proceed. This is another page in between whereby somebody can quickly edit a course. And who can edit a course is mostly the admins. So this is the course, this is a form that change or create a course. So if in case you want to edit a course, this is how it's available. So all these pages are part of the template that we selected. So when you are done with your design, you can quickly preview. Let's go on mobile, on desktop. You can also scan it to view it on the phone. So when you're done, I will come back to that side now so that people too can easily sign in. Or if you have your mobile, you can easily sign in. You can scan the QR code to view it, but always ask to sign in. Because I make it private, actually. That's why it's still asking to sign in. If not, everybody will be able to access unless I go to the settings, the permission, the visibility, and I make it public. So when I make this public, it will be available for everybody to have access to it. All right, so let me reload it. Come back to home. All right, preview. All right, so here is our website ready to go on. So if you want to register, you just sign in and then you register. So with this, it always asks you to sign in because it doesn't know who is the end user. So if the end user is still part of this, the dynamics, let's say the school name, here is it. If the user is part of this and has a login, the person will quickly log in, and then you can easily customize your login interface to suit your school. So let's look at the login. This is bizarre. Something that I've done yesterday and then today is just giving me all this. Okay, so you just quickly log in, and then if you have access to this the Active Directory, then you mean you can easily log in. You can also try to register for the site. You can also redeem. So this one were the old options that were available in Power Apps portal that Microsoft brought in the Power App pages, whereby you can register, you can redeem. So the redeem invitation is where I have a new user that is coming, and I'll send the user a code that the user will come and add the invitation code in to register. So with this, if you don't have any invitation code, you can't register. So making the site always secure for any other person that is not part of any of your activities or your organization to be able to join. So it's responsive, meaning when I reduce it, it will align. When I reduce it again, it will align. I mean, so now the courses that were on the landscape became portraits for you to see. All right, so you can also try your hand on it by just going to the powerpages.microsoft.com and then see how interesting this Power Page is. All right, so for quick resources, you have this on the page where you can quickly go. That's the Microsoft Power Page homepage for you to go and then view how this is done. You also have a bootcamp that is coming on the 5th December to 15th, a 10 days bootcamp by Microsoft, whereby any of you can attend. And it will really help you to understand it more, what is Power Pages, easy website to design. It has a cloud challenge to help you in your learning process. And this cloud challenge is related to this bootcamp. So if you are attending the bootcamp, you can easily participate with the cloud challenge. If not, you can also just try and handle the challenge. Why not? And a link for the documentation page whereby you can read more and understand more of this. So you have some quite blogs available now. The page, the tools or the technology just came out last year. I say last year, this year, May, but it's already quite high. Have some quite number of blogs or topics already people are talking about. So Microsoft has a lot of blogs on that. I also have a blog on it. Caroline Mayo and Favor Adelinke too has some blog on it. So these are just few I put over here. And then some few video tutorials by Pragmatic, and then a very good guy that is called Kevin Stratford. So he too has some cool video tutorials on how Power Pages works. And I also have this beautiful website here that somebody shared with me yesterday. That was Rachel. So this page will help you in the progress on how to create a Power Pages. So build a community website with Power Pages. So it has a step-by-step on you on how to create the Power Page, how to name your website, proceed to the end. So for people who are interested, I'll drop the link inside the chat for you to have access to this, and you can have your hand around this. This is a very interesting blog that help you go through each of the models that we talk about today, from the page, how to style a page, how to add a session, how to add a button at a position, how to change the colors, how to change the styling of each page, how to add tables, and how to set the permission and co. All are here for you to see. All right. So thank you very much. Francis, if there is any question.
Thank you very much, Tchesco, for that great presentation. Can we react with claps for those who are able to? Yeah. If there's any question, you can either unmute and ask, or maybe raise your hand or post it on the chat. That was great, being able to create websites with Power Pages. You know, I once created websites with the normal HTML, CSS, and JavaScript and WordPress. So is Power Pages, let me start maybe by asking, since if you want to create a website with a Power Page, will you be like, is it a subscription based, and can you create a public website that you can share with everyone?
Okay, so but for now it's still in the way it's still in preview, but you can still create website, but you need subscriptions and co.
Okay.
Is that what you mean? Yeah, you will need subscription, but I have a free trial for you to start and see your way around it. But as time goes, you need to pay.
Sure. No problem. So it means for the website to be on, you'll be paying the subscription. What is the estimate cost per month? And how many users does it allow, or is it unlimited?
Okay, it depends on the user too, and then how you can view it. So here is on the page. You can see $5 per user per app per month. Oh, sorry, that's no Power Pages. Sorry, comment. I went to pick the wrong one. All right, can you see?
Yes.
Okay, so we are still in the free production now, but it's not something individual can easily purchase like this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not something that can easily purchase like this. So if the pricing is, Microsoft always have a great tool. So great things come with a great. So you have 100 users per site per month, or 500 users per site per month. So depend on your package. So $200 for 100 users, or $75 for 500 users. So yes.
So when you say users, does it mean that if I exceed 500 users, I won't be able to, the website will shut down for the next, like for instance, maybe I've shared a link for the website and I've exceeded the 500 users. It means the website won't open for the 501th user if it's a public.
Okay, you know how this goes. It's the same as Azure. When you have a subscription of a subscription, and then your resources are exhausting, it prompts you and allow you to increase or do whatever you think. So when at first you register for 100 users, and then the system is monitoring you and sees that you always have 50 users, it will prompt you that mostly you always have 50 users, and select and recommend you the right licensing to tools. And when you go to 500 users and you realize that you are getting more than 500 users now, it will still prompt you for you to quickly scale your license. You get it?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely got it. So Elvis is asking, so apart from the free trial, I cannot access even with my student email.
Okay, if the student email is a Microsoft account, if does it want to try, or you want to have the Power Pages as for his own email? Okay.
So they can have?
Yeah. Let me read the question again. Does Power Pages have capability to be configured?
The
That's my
previous
question.
one. So apart from the free trial.
Okay, can access even with a student account. Okay, so if the student account is a Microsoft account, you can easily go within the sign in and it goes. But it will always assign you a free trial unless you want it and you pay for the license.
Okay, Elvis,
So,
is that
yeah.
okay? So Eric is asking does Power Pages have the capability to be configured as a portal with workflows integrated to other applications such as Dynamics 365 Business Central?
Yeah. So even in this case, we are doing something like this in my company, whereby we do this for the university. Yeah. So it allocates computers to students. So the logic was, you come to the website as a student of the university, you always have your student's email. So you log into the website and you request for a laptop. So when you request for a laptop, it initiates a flow that goes to the background and push an approval to whoever is at the admin side to approve you to, if you are eligible of accessing your laptop. You get it? So it's easy to integrate the workflow or the Power Automate in this. And also it's easy for you to link this with Dynamics 365 applications or business centrals. You can link all this to this. If you case, this is good for customer servicing. So since Business Central 2 is also related to those kind of things, you can easily get it.
Wow. So you can be able to easily create a portal
Yeah.
that will integrate with Business Central. Okay.
You Business Central, yes. And if you want maybe your customers, Business Central, I believe you have customers side, you have suppliers and those type of things. And yes, so you can easily integrate all those kind of models or whatever it is in Business Central right into this. So from this, the person can view whatever details is available for his or her.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Any other question? So far there's no any other question. So Tchesco, we really appreciate your time and presence and your presentation on Power Pages. Being able to do rapid application development is something that we should all explore. And the links that you have shared will be so resourceful. And yes, thank you for sharing even the Power Platform. No, the bootcamp that is upcoming on 5th of December. So you can maybe share them on the chat for those who would like to join. So we really appreciate you. Or I didn't see you sharing the link to your blog, but you can also share that to us so that we can be able to see it.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll do that. I'll do that. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes. Now we go to Power Automate with the Power Platform advocate, Rachel. Rachel, are you there?
Hi, Francis. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's okay.
Are you able to share your screen?
Yeah, I can share my screen.
Okay.
Okay, that's okay. When you can see my screen, just let me know.
Yes. It's we can be able to see your screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay, today I'm going to be explaining to you on Microsoft Power Automate. I'm going to introduce you to Microsoft Power Automate, and my name is Rachel Irabor. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador and a Power Platform advocate, a freelance writer, a podcaster, and a YouTube content creator. I know there are much, but so this is me, and I post mostly on my YouTube channel. I post mostly on Power Platform and Microsoft 365 technology. I post podcasts on Microsoft Power Platform also in order to create awareness, especially in Africa. I'm a student at the University of Benin. I'm studying industrial mathematics. And yeah, I think that's me. Thank you. So I'm going to be talking to you about Microsoft Power Automate, and especially if you are new to Microsoft Power Automate, or this is your first time hearing about Microsoft Power Automate, it's actually a tool in Microsoft Power Platform, and it's used for automation that anybody can use it. It does not matter whatever background you are coming from. You don't have to be a Power Platform developer. You can be a data analyst. You can come from any background, any career. You don't have to even be a tech person to be able to use Microsoft Power Automate, because it allows you to automate tasks like repeated tasks that you have to do. That's something you have to do today, you have to do tomorrow, you have to do it every day in a week. You can easily just automate that task. Or maybe you have to send, let me say for instance, I have to send an Excel file to my manager. I have to send an Excel file to my manager every day, maybe at 9 a.m. I have to send an Excel file to him. I can easily just automate it that, okay, I don't have to go through that long process of sending it manually. At that time each day, my manager is actually going to get that Excel file on their email. And in Microsoft Power Automate, we have different types of flows. When you are creating your flow, we have the cloud flow, we have the desktop flow, and we also have the business process flow. So after this, I'm actually going to show you my Power Automate environment and show you these things here. So in cloud flow, we have the automated cloud flow, we have the instant cloud flow, and we also have the scheduled cloud flow. Like for the example I just gave just now, I spoke about scheduled cloud flow. Like that, you can set your flow, like what time do you want this flow to run? Do I want it to run every week? Do I want it to run 3 times in a week? Do I want it to run at this particular time, maybe at 10 a.m., at 1 p.m., at 12 p.m.? So I don't have to, I can just be doing other things. I can be working, and that flow is actually running on its own. Then we also, that if I'm too fast, please let me know. Hi, Francis.
Yes, we are okay. Okay.
Okay, we have the automated cloud flow, and please feel free to ask me any questions. If you have any questions, please just ask me. Thank you very much. So we have our automated cloud flow, and it's actually triggered by an action. I can give you an example of being triggered by an action. Let me say, for instance, I share a form, like for this event now, let me say, for instance, a form was given to you to add your information, your name, your email, your phone number, stuff like that. And I want to run a flow that each time any person fills that flow, the person gets an email. So for the person to be able to get that email, the form has to be filled. So that is an action. So if you do not fill that form, if anybody does not fill that form, that flow is not going to run. So when you fill the form, you are going to get an email. Okay, thank you for filling this form. I can't wait to see you on my event, stuff like that. Then we also have the instant cloud flow. The instant cloud flow is triggered manually. And when I say triggered manually, I can say, for instance, let me just follow a particular pattern. Let me say, for instance, I actually have from my responses on my Microsoft form, I want to be able to send, after sending that email, I want to gather those responses and send them another email to tell them that, okay, thank you for attending my event, right? So after doing that, I can just easily just send it to an Excel file from Microsoft Form and just send it to them that, okay, I don't have to go through the process of the action has to be triggered. It's very different from your automated cloud flow. So a person does not have to fill a form for them to get the email. I just have to run the flow and all the messages we send. Yeah. So that's it. And I've already explained what is scheduled cloud flow. And the next thing we have our desktop cloud flow. If you can check on your app store on your system or your laptop, you're going to see Power Automate. So you can easily download Power Automate on your system, and you can also use it to automate processes. You can use it to automate processes that does not have APIs, have missing APIs, stuff like that. And the next thing we have your business process flow. So when it allows you to follow a particular step, guides you to follow a particular step. Let me say, for instance, I have to go through an employment onboarding. So I do not have somebody to tell me that, okay, you have to, this is what you are supposed to do, this is what you are supposed to do. There's already a step for me to follow. There's already a step for me to follow that, okay, this is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3, and this is step 4. So with your business process flow, it guides you. Then I'm going to go to next step. Okay, so I'm going to explain the benefits of Power Automate, like why I think that Power Automate is good for everybody, and it does not matter your career, what you are doing, you can easily use Power Automate, because number one, it increases productivity. So I can have a lot on my plate today, like I can have a lot of tasks I have to do today. I can just easily, maybe I have 10 things to do today, or maybe 100. I can just easily automate, let me say 30% of that task. And is it not like, think of something, okay, for instance, the example I made that I have to send an Excel sheet every time. That's an example of a repetitive task. I have to send an Excel sheet every time that I have to send it, that, okay, manager, this is the Excel sheet, I have to send it. But when I automate that task, is there any place that will tell you that, okay, I don't want you to use Microsoft Power Automate to make the business faster? Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm asking a question. Like, I'm saying that, is there any company or any establishment that will say that I don't want you to bring productivity into my company? Okay, I'm not getting any answer, but there's no company that's going to tell you that I don't want you to bring productivity into my company. And one other great thing about Microsoft Power Automate, if your company is using Office 365, you also have access to Microsoft, like if they're using the license of Office 365, you also have access to Microsoft Power Automate and even Microsoft Power Apps. So another benefit of Power Automate is that you can access it on any device. Let me say, for instance, I have like a Power Automate approval flow. I can approve that flow on my phone. I can approve it on my system. So it does not matter where I am. Maybe I'm not in the workplace, I'm at home, and there's a request that, okay, we have to make a shipment. This particular goods is no longer in stock, and we have to make a shipment for it. Should we go ahead or should we wait? So when an approval flow is sent for me, even though without me being in my workplace, I can easily just either get an email. I can easily get an email on my phone, or I can easily just access it with my Power Automate mobile on my phone, and either I approve the flow or I do not approve the flow. And we also have integration across platform. Like, the integration across different platform is seamless. What I mean by this is that, okay, you are trying to, even though we are trying to connect to third-party services that are not even under Microsoft Power Platform, it's very easy for you to connect. You just have to, it depends on the authentication. Most of them, you just have to sign in. You just have to like sign in into your account, and you have access to the particular service or platform you are trying to use. And one other thing, especially even when you're a beginner, or even advanced intermediate, you can also use a template. In the Power Automate environment, we have templates that you can use to automate your tasks, which I'm going to show you too. It also helps to reduce human error. Like, you have so many things doing at the same time. It's not possible that you're not going to make mistakes, and mistakes, they are normal to make mistakes. That's fine, you can make mistakes. But when you're trying to help your company, you're trying to work with your company, and you're making mistakes all the time, that's not right. So you can easily, with automation, it helps you reduce human error, like things that when you have so many things doing, you can just automate some part of it and have other things, and also do other things. Yeah. We also have decision making and decision making. I gave an example of an approval flow. You have a stock, maybe you have a warehouse, you sell things, and you are trying to you have a warehouse, and maybe some things are actually not in stock, and you have so many processes you have to follow in order for you to go out and buy those products that are not in stock. So you can easily just create an automation for that process, and each of the person that you have to get approval from, they all get an email that, okay, should I go through this process? Should I go through this process? They can just accept it on their phone or on their system. You don't have to go and meet them one by one. Okay, oh, Mr. John, this is what is happening. I need you to sign on this paper. So you don't have to do all of that. With Power Automate, you can easily just process everything you have. So I'm going to send the links here, but okay. I think I'm going to go to the next step. Can you see my screen? Please let me know. Hi, Francis. Are you still seeing my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm just trying to send distance here. Okay, I sent some links that can get you started in Power Automate. Also to learn more about desktop flows. And also in those learning paths, they are step-by-step process you can follow to create a flow. So you can easily just start your journey from there. And I also sent a link to my YouTube channel, Medium, and also LinkedIn. If you have any questions, you can connect with me. Okay. So this is my Power Automate environment. So if you can notice, this is my Power Automate environment, and this is the home. All these things you are seeing right here, they are all templates. And if I come to this approval, these are like approval flows, the history sent. So that's it. Then flows, my flows are the ones I've created. Under these cloud flows, we have your instant cloud flow, your automated cloud flow, and also your scheduled cloud flow. Like you can see, it's new flow. So you can create them from here. Then also we have your desktop flow. Then you have flows that people have shared with you. So I don't have any flow that anyone has shared with me. You also have your creates. You can create your flows from here. So if you come down to this place, and there's one good thing about, like recently, Microsoft Ignite, the last Microsoft Ignite this year, they talked about a new feature in Microsoft Power Automate where you get to explain what you want. Like maybe you want that when a response is filled in a form, you want it to be sent to a Microsoft chat, like maybe a Microsoft channel. So you can easily just explain what you want with your own words, which is what it's here, and it's going to give you a suggestion, like it's going to give you what to choose, what goes with what you have explained, and then you can click on next. I also shared like a link to that on the chat, so you can check it out. It's not really available in all regions, but you can definitely check it out. So all these things you are seeing here, they are all templates. So you see, if you can easily just check and say, okay, which one works for me? Am I trying to schedule a reply in Microsoft Teams? Am I trying to start an approval flow? So all of this, you can see we have remote work, we have email, we have notification, we have save to cloud, and we have approval. So there are a lot. So if I come down, you're going to see where I can click on all templates. And all of this you're seeing, they're all connectors. You can see Power BI, SQL Server, all of this. So it's the same thing here, which is templates. Then we have connectors. In connectors, we have the standard connectors, and we also have the premium connectors. The standard connectors are the ones that they are free, they come with your license. Then the premium connectors are paid connectors. Like for now, I can use all of these connectors here because I'm actually using a developer account, which is an E5 developer account. So you can see all of this. And we also have like independent publishers. Maybe somebody created, like most of them here are independent publishers created by individuals. So you can see we even have GitHub, YouTube, all of this. So the possibility is let me, how will I put it in English now? It's limitless. Like you can do so much, and if that connector is not available, you can easily create a connector by using an API to create a, like maybe that connector, maybe the data source you are trying to automate is not available. You can easily create a connector for it. And we also, if you come down to your data, we have tables. Okay, I'm just going to show you that. I'm just trying to show you around your Power Automate environment, your tables, that is your Microsoft Dataverse. I'm going to come back here and see we have connections. We have custom connectors, we have data gateway. Like for instance, where you can use your data gateway is you have to download it on your system. It's a cloud gateway. Maybe for instance, I want to automate like an SQL server. I want to automate SQL server. I have to download cloud gateway on my system and log in my account. After logging in my account, then I can create a connection to SQL with my data gateway. We also have monitors. You can see all of this. We have your AI, process advisor, and solutions. So I'm just going to go up of this and create a flow, an easy flow we can all understand. So I'm going to start with an automated cloud flow. And I'm going to name this like let me increase my screen just in case, just to let everybody see what I'm doing. Yeah. So right now, I'm trying to create like an automated cloud flow for a Microsoft form. And I have to use like a trigger for it. We have triggers, we have actions. So my trigger here is when a new response is submitted. I'm just going to click on create. And when a new response is submitted is that I want it that when a new response is submitted, I can actually choose an action that I can get those responses and send an email to those responses. So let me just choose any Microsoft form from what I've created before now. Okay, let me just try that. Get response detail. So this is the action. The form ID is the form, which is review class. Sorry, review class. Then the response ID. So I want to get the responses from that Microsoft form. Then the next thing, I want to share that particular form for me so that you can fill the responses on the form. Okay, I'm going to just look for it. Okay. I think the name, I want to add email address to this. because I need the email address in order to send that email to the responses. So I'm just going to click on collect response, shorten the URL, and just copy. So I'm going to send it to the chat. Okay, so when I finish creating the flow, you can actually fill your responses on that form so that you can see how it works. So I'm just going to look for the action, send an email v2. Okay, then so what is it? So part of it is respondent's email. Wait, I'm going to wait. Let me just remove this part again. Just added that just now. I have to let me start from the beginning. Let me take cloud flow because of what I just added. Okay, so the reason why I started from the beginning, I know that I can refresh, but I don't want my network to just stop working. So I'm just starting again because I want that email address to show, like the new column I just added to it. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and look for review class, response ID. Then the next action, send an email v2. If there's anything I've done that you don't understand, please just let me know. So for this send an email v2, this action, I'm going to go for the tool to add which person. It's just like your normal email. Like when you are trying to send an email, sure you have to like write down the email you are sending to. So that's what is happening here. So if you check on this dynamic content, you can see its email address, answer to the question above. That is the answer gotten from my Microsoft form. That is what is coming here. Then the subject, I can just name it. I can just give it any name so you can see. Then the body, I'm going to write hi, the name of that person. So what I'm trying to do right now, I'm trying to make it personalized. Like maybe I fill a form and I wrote my name there, Rachel Irabor. So when I get an email, I'm going to see hi Rachel Irabor before I'm going to see the next message. Or maybe another person called Sandra, she filled the form. She's still also going to get an email, hi Sandra. So it's actually personalized to each person that fills the form. Okay. Okay, so next thing I'm going to click on show advanced options. So yeah, you can add, if you want to add CC, if you want to add this, you can add it. And one other thing too, it does not mean that you have to use dynamic content in this send an email v2. In case of another use case, you can easily just write out the email. You don't have to use dynamic content. You can easily just write out the email. So I'm just going to, I want to change the importance of the email. I want to make the person know that this email is very important. So I'm going to change it to hi. Then I'm going to save this. I'm going to save that flow. Okay. Okay, I'm going to click on test, click on manually, then click on test. So if you can see on this particular place, I'm going to zoom in my screen. It's telling me that to see it work now, submit a new response to the selected form. Okay, so I shared the link to this. I shared the link to this form. Please, can we all fill the form? Hi, Francis.
Hi, we are filling. We are filling the form. We are filling the form.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so your flow ran successfully. So you can see this. And you can see the person is run to, hi, Eric. So you can see that. So I think, so did you get an email? The persons that filled the form. Okay, hi, did you get an email for the person that filled the form?
For me, I'm still feeling.
Okay.
Yes, Rachel, I did get a response. Just sharing on the chat.
Okay, that's awesome. Okay. So considered. You can see the history of your flow from this place. So that's it. So you can all fill the form and let me know when you get your responses. If you have any questions, please just let me know. Thank you. While we wait for those who are filling the form, if you have any questions, please let me know.
Yes, I got an email as well.
Okay.
Thank you for attending the event. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. And I also shared resources to everything I did today. I shared responses on, if you can check the chats, I shared responses on getting started with Power Automate, learning paths. You can also, and also on Power Automate desktop, and also on the AI capabilities on Power Automate, where you can easily just describe. You can easily describe how you want your flow to, like, what do you want your flow to do? Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. Is anyone with a question on Power Automate and the way we can be able to improve our productivity? That's a very great session. Really appreciate. Okay, Rachel, you mentioned that you are a student.
Yeah.
Okay, so you are like specializing in Power Automate. Is it something that you want to take it up as a career? No, Power Platform, not Power Automate.
Okay. Yeah, it's definitely something I want to take as a, is that something I'm taking as a career already? But
Okay.
in Power Platform, we have different tools in Power Platform. So for now, I'm actually working with Power Automate and Power Apps. Yeah.
Beautiful. So how does the licensing work? Eric is asking that.
Okay, I'm actually using like a developer account right now, but I think it's actually, I know that for Power Apps, we have, for licensing, we have per user per month, and we also have per apps per month. But I've not really gone into the licensing for Power Automate, but I'm just going to check that out and reply you. Like, I'm going to post it on the chat, a link to it on the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
So any other person with a question?
Maybe just one, thank you.
Okay.
Can you make a clarity maybe between the difference between the Power Automate console and Power Automate flow design? A clear difference on that.
Rachel, have you heard the
Okay,
question?
sorry, I do not understand your question.
I'm asking if you could make a clear difference between Power Automate console and the Power Automate flow designer.
Okay, I have not used the Power Automate Flow Designer.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Any person in
question?
the chat? Any person in the chat who can take that maybe before we Go to Azure.
Okay.
Okay. Seems no one, but
Wait,
maybe
sorry,
we'll...
sorry, let me just share my screen again and show you that. Okay, I just saw that the Power Automate Flow Designer is actually the desktop flow. I think I have it on my system. I'm going to show you. Yeah. Let me share my screen.
And as you're sharing your screen,
Yeah.
are there some API available for Power Automate? Number of them?
Like API, how? When you're trying to create like a custom connector.
Sorry?
Are you asking like when you're trying to create a custom connector?
Yeah, something of that kind.
Okay, I do know that when you're trying to create a custom connector, you can check online. Maybe for example, you are going for Reddit. Maybe you're trying to use Reddit as a connector and you want to run a flow for it, and you notice that there's no connector for Reddit on Power Automate. So I think you can easily just search online for Reddit API, stuff like that, and you can go from there. Yeah.
Okay,
And
thank
there
you.
are also resources on how to create custom connectors. I think either Julia or Bethany wrote a blog post for it. I'm going to check and also send to the group. Let me just share my screen. Okay, I think not actually seeing down of my screen. Okay, yeah, this is it. I have to. Okay, let me just unshare and just log in. I'm coming. Yeah, sorry. If you have any other question, you can ask why I just work on this. If you have any question, you can ask why I work on it. Yeah.
Hi, Rachel, and greetings to the Power community. My question is on one intends to undertake the exam, Power Apps or Power Platform exam. Key areas you would recommend one to focus, especially on the Power Automate section. Does one need to know all the formulas?
Okay.
And such?
I think that if you want to take the Microsoft, they have different certification paths. But I think the most importantly, even though you are going for Microsoft Power Automate, you have to start with the fundamental, which is your Microsoft Power Platform fundamental certification exam. So after starting with that, then we have your ROPA PL500 exam. That is for Power Automate, and it's really, really advanced exam. So we have different learning paths. We have Power Apps Maker, we have functional consultants, we have different certifications on Power Platform. So I think that the best thing, if you're going to write like for your Microsoft Power Platform fundamental certification exam, you have to try and understand your environment. Like the way I showed you through your Power Automate environment right now, you have to understand it. You have to understand what is your cloud flow, your Power Automate, what is Power Automate. You have to understand what's instant, business, desktop, and there's not really questions on the desktop part of it, but you're definitely going to get questions on your cloud flow, your instant cloud flow, and your scheduled cloud flow. And the questions does not come like direct, like you're going to just, most of them, you're not just going to look at it and you already know the answer. You have to read through it. Also for Power Apps, you have to understand the environment. You have to play around it, like you have to build solutions. because you have to build, then you have to go to Microsoft Learn, read learning paths. So I think that's all. Then watch videos on YouTube. We have different YouTube content creators on Microsoft Power Platform. We have April, Reza, we have Kristen, yeah. A lot of people in the community. Did I answer your question?
Yes. Thanks for the guidance.
Okay, I'm trying to sign in, yeah. Any other question? Okay, do we have any other question?
It seems there is no other question as at now.
Okay.
There's something you are presenting, right?
Yeah, I was trying to show the desktop environment. I'm trying to sign in, but I've not gotten in yet. I'm coming. I just need to know my password. Yeah.
Okay.
We can just
Okay.
go ahead. I can show it at the end of the class.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, Rachel, for that interactive session, an introduction to the Power Automate to help us in productivity. So, so as you prepare, you'll just send me a chat, and then you'll maybe at the end you'll be able to show the desktop, Power Automate desktop. So at this juncture, allow me to invite or welcome Azure McFarLane, Microsoft MVP Business Applications from the US, all the way from the US. Azure, are you there?
Looks like I'm on mute. Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon. It's afternoon for how are you doing?
We are doing well. We are doing well. I am sure you
Good.
haven't slept yet.
I took a nap. I took a little bit of a nap, so I'm good to go. But after this, I will go back to sleep.
Okay. Well and good. Well, take it over.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. So I'm gonna start sharing my screen. We're not gonna spend too much in the PowerPoint. Give me 1 second to get myself together. All right, so good afternoon. My name is Azure McFarLane, and I'm here to do a little bit of integration about things that you can do in Power Platform. So you've learned about what today? Power Pages, you learned about Canvas apps, you've learned about Power Automate. And you're probably wondering, well, how do all of these fit together? So this is what we're going to talk to a little bit about today. We're going to do an integration with Power Apps and Power Automate to give you a little bit more of an idea of what you can do with the platform. So a little bit about me. I'm a Power Platform consultant. I live in the Washington, D.C. area, which is on the furthest East Coast, as Francis said. I am a BizApps MVP, and you can connect with me online on Twitter if you're there, LinkedIn, and there's also my link tree here that'll give you all the links to information about me. My background, I originally started in biochemistry, so I have no tech background whatsoever. Went to school for science and worked in the pharmaceutical manufacturing industry for about the last 10 years or so. Last year, or in 2019, I discovered Power Automate, really fell in love with it and how much you could do with the platform, started automating a bunch of things around my company, ended up teaching, like our internal boot camp, then started getting external invitations, and ended up landing a job at the same company last year, earlier in the spring, working specifically with Power Platform. We didn't have anybody at my work site that knew it, but I had gotten so proficient at it, it ended up being a new career path for me. And then earlier this year, I transitioned into more formal consulting. So I left pharmaceuticals and went into general consulting. And right now I'm in between opportunities. So I'll be looking for, I'm on the hunt for a new job. So hopefully by the new year, I will have a new job. But this is my, PSA, my public servant announcement to say, if you are not in tech, if you don't have a tech background, it doesn't matter. Power Platform is absolutely for you. And I'm pretty sure you've seen that today, like Rachel Irabor, she is a student, right? So Power Platform is for anyone of any age. And hopefully this gives you some ideas of things like to take back to your business, things that maybe you can automate at home. Get familiar with the rest of the platform because it's a ton of fun. There's a lot to learn, so don't feel the need that you need to know everything. Okay, so you've probably seen something similar to this slide before. This is the entire platform. So I've heard that you all are very familiar with Power BI, maybe not so much with the rest of the platform, which is what was today, today's session. So we've got Power Apps, so you can build apps. We've got Power Automate, you can do automation. Power Virtual Agents, which I don't think we got to today, which are like chatbots. And then Power Pages, which is kind of like an externally facing website or an externally facing like Power App. Because Power Apps, you might have learned before that they're kind of internal to your organization. So you'll see today that we're going to be uploading some information into a Power App, but using externally Microsoft Forms. And so we power everything by using data connectors. We can use AI Builder and Dataverse, in addition to other data sources, right? So you have, maybe a SQL database, maybe you're using SharePoint on your end. All of these things can go into the platform as well. So we are going to go into a little bit about Power Automate. I know Rachel told you about stuff. We can do a ton of stuff with Automate. We can get notifications. We can get, Teams notifications. We can post on social media. We can send emails. We can send adaptive cards. We can send virtually any notification that you want to yourself, a customer, right? This could be something to send for yourself for productivity. If a line in your SQL database changes or a certain column, maybe you want to know about it. Maybe you want to know on social media when, somebody posts about your company. Different things surrounding that. Want to be able to collect data. So you do it in Power BI, but maybe we need to like move it around. Maybe we want to take something that's new in an Excel spreadsheet and add it to another data source. Maybe we want to gather some information from another department, right? So we can kind of move things around as needed. We can synchronize files. We can create files. We can create Word documents, PowerPoint templates, PDFs, whatever you need from this. So instead of having to manually create documents yourself, if you were using the same kind of things over and over and over, you can even add some customization to it. And then approvals. So most likely you've got some approval scenario going on. It might be a budget. It might be some sort of work expense. It could be, like content for a document. So we can do, this is just, a small view of a ton of things that we can do with Power Automate. It's my first love. And just think of Automate as the behind the scenes work engine behind, like Power Apps or Power Pages, and also could be for Power BI too. Okay, so we're going to get out of the slideshow for a bit. We'll come back to resources. I will email you guys these as well. We're going to do a demo now that is going to be using Power Automate. If you open up I will also drop this link in the chat for you to this, so you can scan the code, or we can also, let's see. Let's collect some responses. So our form, I'm going to drop this in the chat. Let me know if you cannot get it. So this is the form that we're going to use. So what we're going to do is a bit of a scenario where we are going to take information from forms. We're going to dump it into a data source, and then we are going to show you how we can display this in an app. So we're going to tie parts of the platform together. Since Canvas apps are internal to an organization, Power Pages are external facing, we can't get you direct access to the app. It would take a little bit of time to add everybody to my tenant. So we're going to kind of fake this and have people submit their information via forms. We are going to take a look at a flow that is going to move this information from forms to SharePoint, and then also post on Twitter. I think, Rachel, you did a demo with forms as well. So this is like a really easy way for people to move information around. And so while I don't have the entire app built out for this use case specifically, I'm going to show you also one that's completely finished and show you what that can do. So the form is very short, give you, 2 minutes or so to fill it out, just your name, what's your email address, do you use Twitter just because I want to follow you if you're putting out content out there at some point. And then it'll just ask you yes or no, whether you select yes or no, it'll drop down the rest of the questions. And just as a fun thing, we said pick a celebrity. So I can start looking to see responses coming in. All right, is anybody, I don't see any. Awesome, there we go. New stuff is coming in, great job. All right, so you're familiar with this. Forms is a very like instantaneous, like being able to get responses from folks. We know that we can see this data, in Excel. What on the back end, what we want to do is we want to then push this information into a SharePoint list. So what I've done is I've set up a data source in SharePoint, right? So I just called it bootcamp attendees. And if we refresh this, we should start to see a bunch of information come in. How did we get this here? We did this by powering it with Power Automate. So we'll come over here and I'll show you this is what the flow looks like. Don't get too hung up on all the steps that are here, but just know what we've said to a flow is when we have a new form response and we can pick the form response that we want, we're going to get the response details. We have to manipulate some data. So we've set some variables. I had to set a condition. Oh boy, I did not turn this on. Okay, so some tweets we'll have some tweets that are coming in, but the original ones for people that just submitted stuff did not quite come through yet. So we said, if somebody has a Twitter handle, what we want to do is post a tweet and post their name and anything, information that they put in the form. So this was just kind of fun. Then we said, let's create an item in SharePoint for this. So let's create an item in our data source for this. And then let's send you an email, regardless of if you have Twitter or not, to say, here's all the information you submitted, right? Very quick kind of flow that we can, go through. So we are able to pick exactly what data source that we want for this. So for the form, we pick the form that we want. We're able to say, if somebody has a Twitter account, let's post a tweet. If not, we need to do a few things. We want to be able to set some variables that says, if somebody doesn't use Twitter, we want to set a variable that says no. So when we write to our data source, it says no. And then we also want to say, like, we want to write that their Twitter handle is none, right? Or else it would be blank in the data source. So we can kind of manipulate things as we would like, and then set them in the SharePoint list later on, right? So Rachel showed you probably that you can use dynamic content. So we can pull information from our previous steps that's available to use in this flow. And we don't have to add everything. That's the beauty of Automate, is that you choose what information you would like. So we could have easily said, so this field is actually, it's called name, but when you put in steps, it'll stay as title in this action, but in the data source, we can rename what it is. We could put this as anything we would want. It can be a choice column. It can be free text. It can be a number. It's whatever we need it to be. Okay. So we matched up here, to the step here in SharePoint. We said, here's our site address, our SharePoint site. Here's the list that we want to write to. And then here's the information. So the dynamic content for the form, we've matched it with a field in our data source. So here, this is name in the data source. We can see that there is a question about names. So we said, what is your first name? We're going to put that here. What is your email address is another question. So we're going to put that in the email field. Do they use Twitter? This is this variable that we set that says, if they use Twitter, we want it to say yes or no. What's your Twitter handle, on and on and on, right? And so we can be very selective about what information we want to use. If we didn't want to gather email addresses, but it's in the form, you could take it out of the form, or we could just not populate the item in the data source, right? It kind of depends on how you're gathering data, who your audience needs to be, right? Because maybe a couple of groups are using the same data from the forms, but you don't have to take all the data that comes out of that. You can choose what you want to do. And then here we're just using a very common, connector for Outlook just to send an email. And hopefully, has anybody received an email yet? If you want to give me like a reaction for a thumbs up or a heart or something, but you should have received an email of some source to say, Awesome, Francis, I see you got one. Great, that we can then send automated emails, and it was personalized. It probably had your name in it, right? Because we said hi title, so that should have been hi so-and-so's name, and then all the information that we put into that form. And again, we could select what we want to put in there. You know, request your email was probably a little bit redundant. We already had, you know, your email address and like you already put it in, so you probably don't need to be emailed your own email address, but just for the sake of, you know, getting to see how this works, we put it in there too. Cool, awesome, Rachel, glad to see. So we did one thing. We submitted a form and it did a bunch of stuff for us, right? And this is the beauty of automation is I could have manually sent you an email like when I received the form, right? Because we've got 12 responses. I could have sent 12 emails out manually to each person, right? But sometimes you don't have the time for that. Why would you want to do that individually? But we can personalize it with a name, with some information, which is a really, really cool part about Power Platform. And then also what should have happened is we should have had some tweets that posted, right? So let's see on my account. Oh, so tweets didn't come in. Okay, so this is a trial and error thing, right? Sometimes flows for live demos don't work, and that's fine. I think that was in part by me for turning off. There's a setting in here. Actually, show a little secret that if you need to test out a flow but don't want to send out a big notification or something, you can actually turn it off temporarily. So what I had on was something called static result, which meant if this was enabled, then no tweets would be sent even though the flow is running in the background. And we can actually we'll take a look at the run history to see if the tweet actually ran. And if not, I'll just rerun something else. So maybe Francis, you'll get, or maybe I'll just rerun like the last one that came through and then we should see a tweet come through. All right. Okay. Awesome. So we've had people submit stuff. We've got some flow runs here in our history. So let's take a look at the last one that came in. And as you can see, this stuff happened incredibly quickly, right? So all in all, this flow took about 1 second to run, which is really, really quick. So much faster than you could have done this by hand yourself with each response, right? So when the response is submitted, we get some details from this. So we get the form ID. This isn't very useful to us right now. So we had to say, okay, when the new response is submitted, we want to get these response details. Cool. Got the response details. And here we go. If you can see this, I'll, you know, put my screen up a little bit more, but we've got all the information. This is all the dynamic content that came from that one form response. So Cyprian, awesome, great. You have submitted a flow successfully. And remember, like you necessarily didn't know that all of this was going on in the background, right? So people might benefit from automation and have no idea. So we've got Twitter handles, we've got, you know, an output response and a body. So we see like these nonsensical IDs. These are cloud IDs that are, you know, we'll find in flows. And as you get a little bit more advanced, we'll be like, okay, sometimes these are relational IDs that you'll need to use in different steps. We initialize some variables, right? So we said we're always going to pick whatever the Twitter handle is unless somebody doesn't have a Twitter handle, right? And then we would say, if they don't have one, then we want to change that response to none. So we just set it as a default to say, pull somebody's Twitter handle. But if it's none, then we'll set it later. And then, of course, that static result that I had, I turned it off for the tweet, so it didn't actually post the tweet. So what we're going to do is we're just going to resubmit this to show you what it would look like, right, if it had been working properly. So to turn that off. But it did create the item and it did send the email, right? So we created the item in our data source with exactly what we had with the form. There were a few columns on here that you couldn't see in the form, but that I set in the data source. So we can add information, like not display information that we want, right? So it just depends on what you need. And then we sent an email, which should have been a bit personalized. Sorry, this stuff was a little big. To send an email, right? So we've got hi so-and-so, it's their actual name. gives us all the details of what they did. There's some formatting here. The emails are formatted in HTML. So you can add different fonts, you can add images, you can do italics, bold, whatever you need to do. It's a very flexible platform. Okay, so that's what we did. Let's see if anybody submitted something a little bit sooner than maybe I think Cyprian, yours was the last one that came in. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to resubmit a few of these just so we can get the tweet aspect of it. Okay. So let's resubmit. And you're going to receive another email. What I could have done and what I will do for the next one is I'm going to turn off this send an email action. So we're just going to get the tweet. I could also turn off the creating a new item portion just to test this too, so we don't add another line item to our data source. So let's do that. I'm going to go into the flow. And I use this for testing a lot because sometimes you don't need extra entries in your SharePoint list. Sometimes you just create a little too many extra things that you don't want. So we just want to test part of it. Okay. Ooh, okay, that's fine. Live troubleshooting. It looks like I updated part of this and the flow hadn't updated too. So we're just going to delete these and we're going to save. And then we'll test. Okay, so we know this one, Cyprian, that would have been yours. So let's do this one, whatever this one is. And we should get a tweet. I don't know whose submission it was, but we can take a look. Oh, nope, Cyprian, it was yours again. So we should get a tweet this time. Let's pick another random one to see. We'll resubmit that one as well. Okay, cool. So this should have been for Francis. That's for you. All right, so if we come over to here and we refresh the page for Twitter, we should have a tweet that says it's not doing it. That's interesting. So sometimes live demos do not work. It was working just before we did this. So let me check the run history one more time to make sure we turned off the static result, and it looks like it did not turn off. Okay, we'll try that one more time. Sometimes it can be a little finicky. All right. Send out these last two again. Actually, let's try it. There's a new-ish feature where we can select to run several runs at the same time. So we're just gonna see what happens with this. Let's resubmit all of these. Might get some duplicates, but that's okay. Okay, and two fail, totally fine. All right, so let's go here and try again. There we go. Okay, we've got a few. It worked. There, perfect. Yeah, thanks, Rachel. So it worked. We can't. There's a policy in place that Microsoft has with Twitter to not spam. On Twitter. So we can't actually tag the people per se, even though we had the @ mention there. But you get the idea of with the click of a button when it worked, right? When I reset that one step, we now have information from here. So we didn't have to post everything again. Like we chose what we wanted to, right? So we didn't put out your email address on the internet. Don't want to do that. But we decided to just take, if you had a Twitter handle, what your handle was. So Gideon, KN, Katish, sorry if I pronounced that wrong. What you like about the bootcamp says, I've learned a lot in this bootcamp and I've expanded my knowledge on Power Apps. Awesome. That's great. We have one from France that says he also likes Power Apps. That's great. Power Apps are great, right? Sorry, did somebody come off mute for a question? But we can do, this is a very simple example of what we could do with automation. Now, let's see how this information appears in an app. right? So we've done that. You've seen, okay, automation, we can move things from one place to another. This data source that you have that you're populating to could be Excel, SQL, right? It could be Dataverse. It could be whatever we want, right? And that's just one aspect to it. What we next wanted to do was see, well, pretend, we're going to show you like in an app, in a Canvas app, that we could really submit the same form. Really, this was like mimicking what would have been if we were able to access the app from an internal organization. All right, so done our form, we ended up getting 14 total responses, right? We moved that information, and in SharePoint, right, we saw that that flow ran in 1 second. So we've gotten all of these responses in a matter of like 1 second each time that flow runs. You can see how fast this is. I set a couple of extra fields in this data source because I'll show you in the app, right, what this looks like, but you didn't need to see them at all. Think about automation like running on the back end that maybe you don't need to touch physically your data source every time. Maybe you don't want users that are submitting requests to touch it either. It also could be that you want to use automation or apps in order to be very selective about what you want people to access, whether that's actually touching it, seeing it, et cetera, et cetera. So in this case, you know, if this was like you guys wouldn't see, you know, this database, you would just know that, okay, I'm going to get an email after I do all of this. Okay, so I want to show you an app, right, that was built using this data source. I'm going to save and refresh just to make sure that everything went through. And part of this is unedited because I'm going to show you what a fully like a workable version of this app would be in like a more of a business scenario. But for funsies, I called this is the very awesome celebrity requester portal, right? And so if we play this with apps, right, we were able to do a few things. We were able to customize the screen, right? Any color palette that you want, you can design it that way. We customized it by, you know, adding, it says my name right now, but if you were logged into the app, it would display your name because it's now integrated with Office 365 users. It's a connector in Power Automate. It's also in Power Apps, right? Because we're using the same set of Microsoft tools. We have the ability to integrate a lot of things together. So if it was somebody else in my organization, it would display their name. Adds like a little bit of customization to this. I have a button here that, say somebody has an issue with the app, if they were to click on it, it would open up an email. I'm not sure if it's going to work because I don't have Outlook necessarily. Ah, it does. It's with mail. It doesn't work with my Outlook account, but here's what I'll show you. What it would semi look like is, if it were with Outlook, it would just open up a new email and it would already have who it needs to go to, and you just type your message, right? So you can do things like that. Just click of a button, opens up Outlook for them. You can already have it addressed to the two fields. So if you are working, you know, with a group, somebody's having a question, they can just email you directly. They don't even have to like go to their Outlook and open it up, right? Some customization. If we do submit or view a request, it'll take us to the requests that are available. And again, for some reason, we're having issues with this. It only has the one request that I've had. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh this again and see if that works. Let's see. And if not, I've got a fully built app anyway that we will show. Okay. There we go. It shows a few. That's not even the right one. Don't know why it's doing this, but the premise of this is that we would be able to see the requests that are coming in, and it would have all of your information. Oh, you know what it was? I know exactly what this is. I don't think I actually published the app. Give me 1 second. It's saved and published, and it's pulling from the wrong data source. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot to one that actually has some things in it. the idea was that you would be able to see all the requests coming in. Okay, now it's working. There we go. Just took a little bit of time. So we have requests, right? The request number is, if we're looking at our data source, our request number is the number of the ID that came in. So if we were to add a column here, where's our ID column? If we were to show our ID column, let's drag it over here. Our ID column is numbered for what's coming in. And in the app, we can see that too. I started on request number 8 because I had some stuff and I deleted there. The requester, it's pulling the name from the fields that we did, right? So Power Apps, just like Power BI, you hook up to a data source and you pull the data. We've done the exact same thing. This Power App is connected to our data source and it's just pulling things in. And we've decided to pull what information is applicable to us, right? We have the ability to delete requests, which would then delete from our data source as well. We can see the priority, like low, medium, high. Like I had a couple of fields that I selected as low, medium, high. The request status, we could filter. So if we had changed, if one of these we changed to in progress or complete, we could then filter by whatever the request status is here too, which I think is pretty cool. So you can vary things. If we want to add a new form, so if we, right, so this was kind of the basics of what we did for our Microsoft form. This could be a very basic way to pull this into an app. So we could do the same exact thing as we did with the form. We had a couple of fields. Do you use Twitter? Yes or no? We have the ability to do the collapsible fields. And the same information would go to SharePoint and display exactly like we have before. So instead of using forms, you could use a pretty Power App to do it, right? I'll show you an example of what it could, like a built out app would look like with request. My idea was to have some flows powered behind this to make, like celebrity posters, and didn't quite get that far. But a real life business scenario that I've had is when I was working in pharma. I worked with something called the regulatory group. So this regulatory group, right, there's regulations for the medications that were being made, and people would have to submit paperwork to be approved. We could have done this approval via email. We could have done it, in an app. Power Platform gives us the flexibility to do things in a couple ways. The reason we wanted to do the approvals in the app was because we could also create like a gallery for people to view their own requests. So instead of just getting an email update, they could go check the app as well if they wanted to, because sometimes things get lost in email. It just gave a little bit of a variety. So in what we did for this one was, viewer submit a request, so just like the other one. And we had the gallery requests. So I've done two things. I have admin mode, and I also have a regular person mode. This was just for simplicity. So if you are an employee and you're submitting a new form, right, we had a few things that we needed to fill in. So instead of using Microsoft Forms for this, we started using, an app. Previously, this whole entire process of submitting the paperwork was simply just over email. And it got really messy because the woman who was reviewing the paperwork couldn't tell what was a priority, right? She would have to write things down on sticky notes or keep track of her own things in Excel. It just added a bunch of more steps. So we would have people submit this paperwork to the regulatory specialist through the app. She would have the gallery in order to keep track of all the requests. And then we would have the app send out emails as people's requests were being addressed. So when she, when it was new, they got an email that says, hey, you've been submitted, just like you all got when we did the Microsoft form. When it was in progress, they would get an email that says, hey, your request is in progress. And when it was complete, it was complete. And it also sent them the paperwork. Our regulatory specialist had to then fill out a form that was also generated by Power Automate that she had to fill out to say, okay, this drug is safe to use, maybe it's not safe to use, maybe you have to do an additional investigation, whatever needed to happen. We would have Power Automate create that template and all she had to do was click on a link and fill it in. And when she would hit save and email, it would then email that form to the person so they had that feedback that they needed. So all we did was we took from our data source, right? Back end is SharePoint for this. Nobody needs to know the data source, but this is what people would see when they're submitting a form. They would put in a deviation number. So if we had a deviation from our process, had a number, what the product was, so what the drug was, what the due date was for this team, the separate team to submit, and then like an assessment priority. And what we did was if the deviation due date was far away, right, we could say that the response priority was low, and it would give us a date. It would calculate, we'd had Power Apps calculate a date for us so that everybody wasn't submitting, them for rushed requests, right? If it's low, we were able to create this combo box to say, calculate this date for 5 days. If it's a medium response, we'll do it in 3 days, but now you have to give a justification. And so, we have this pop-up box that is now dependent on what this response date is, and the same thing for high. You'd also need justification. Then for us, the document, what we would do is we would just, instead of having them upload a document, which you could to a Power App if you wanted to, a hard copy, we said, why don't you give us the Office 365 link? So either from SharePoint or OneDrive, and then people would submit. So that's the front end for the user. The user would also see the gallery, right? So they could then they could see their request in this gallery. And if it's a new request, we made it so that maybe they submitted it by mistake, that we could then delete our own request, right? And it would delete that entry from SharePoint too. The person who is looking at the request doesn't have to worry about seeing this either. And so here would be, this was a custom page that was made to view the request. So this is where somebody could come to say, okay, here are all the details from my request. We did this in an email, right? This is the beauty of Power Platform. You can put it anywhere. And we made it look kind of pretty too. And when somebody submits their document, I don't know if this is actually going to open because I might have deleted it in the data source, but what it would do is it's going to open an Office 365 link to the document that they submitted. Okay, so in this case, I had uploaded a PDF and just gave the link to the PDF. All of this was stored in SharePoint, right? Your users have only had to fill out a few fields in a Power App, and automation has done the rest. It's gotten the link, it's taken all the data, it's put it in the back end, and then we can do some additional manipulation with it. So this is what it would look like to a person that has submitted something. If we were to go to the admin mode, so say this is a person addressing requests on the other side, they have the ability, we have hidden some things from just users to use, but we've also given the ability to the admin to be able to delete some requests. So maybe it was a duplicate request. She could do it at any point, right? Doesn't matter if it's new, if it's feedback is required. The reason why we have, users can't delete requests at any time is, what if the reviewer is in the middle of the review and somebody just suddenly deletes a request, right? And it takes that out of SharePoint and then they can't see it anymore. So to, cut down on some confusion, we made it so that only the admins have the ability to delete a request if the status is not new. So here, if we go to a new request, and we turn on the admin mode here, right? Because this is a form that we have on the back end. This then gives me a ton more options to manipulate this data. So this is just for simplicity, like nobody is going to have the admin mode as a toggle. But now the admin who is addressing the request has the ability to do whatever is needed, right? So all of the information at the top stays static because that's what came into the request. But now in the bottom, we have the ability to add additional things on the approver side that we also will write back to our data source. So we should be able to search for somebody's name. I think I have like Beyonce in here, maybe. There we go. Beyonce's in here to make it really easy to be able to assign somebody to this request, right? So this might be Beyonce, it might be me. We then, if we wanted to say, okay, we have taken a look at this document and it looks totally fine, we then change the status, right? It could be that the approver has time right away to look at it, so they may not even need to use in progress. They're looking at it right away, and they can go to complete if it looks good. If it looks like it needs some additional information, right, we can say that employee feedback is required. And once we were to hit save an email, right, if we didn't have any additional notes, it would then send an email to the person saying, hey, by the way, your document actually needs some extra attention. Can you let me know this amount of information? We don't even have to go to Outlook to send that email. The app does it for us because these buttons are powered by flows on the back end, right? So we're now cutting down on having to go to external applications at this point because we can do it from here. So we could set the regulatory lead, we could set the status for the request, we could type notes to the request owner, and we can save and email those if we wanted to. We could also just save this. Maybe, it's we need to come back later to it. Maybe it's we're going to lunch, and we don't really need to do an email. We just kind of need to save our progress. And then there's some internal notes, right? This box, we made it for people to be able to just write their own notes just for the internal person, right? So you've got a lot of flexibility with Power Apps and Power Automate, where we've moved the data, right, from a data source into something. We could then say we wanted to create files, which is what I've done. This regulatory impact assessment request, or this report, is a Word template that has been copied and the information has been filled in from the request from SharePoint, so that when the approver sends the paperwork back, right, it has details on it. It's got like a request ID, it's got the original requester's name, it's just got stuff for, a document repository. I don't think if I click on this that anything is actually going to pop up. I might have deleted it again. Yeah, so it's just a blank document for now. But in this case, this could have been a whole entire Word template that's already been filled out, and all the requester needs to go and do is fill in their notes that is pertinent to this case, if that makes sense. I think that's it. I've got 4 minutes left. I know that was a lot. Did this make sense to folks to see some possibilities on how to integrate multiple bits of the platform? Or was this a little confusing?
Very informative, huh? Very informative. For me, maybe others can speak. But it's really good.
Awesome. Yeah, what I will do is confusing on your, okay, we'll walk through this real quick, Elvis. So the intention was, we've had Power Automate do a few things. We filled out a Microsoft form because the form faces external. In internal organization, I would have been able to give you guys access to this app. You would have been able to go into here to submit a request yourself, right? This would have had the information from the form. We didn't have the ability to do that because the app is in my tenant, so we decided to do a form. With Power Automate, what we did was we took all the responses here from the form and we moved them into SharePoint. Okay. And then what we did with that is we sent you an email that says, thanks for your submission. And we also were able to post a tweet about it, right? Had things like worked, as intended, we got a few tweets out of this. Then what we would have had is the external information we can display in this app, right? Had some kinks with the app, but the idea is that we would have been able to see the data that was submitted from Power Automate, right, from here into the app. This information got into the app because we moved the data from forms to SharePoint, and SharePoint's on this back end. Then what we'd be able to do is things like deleting a request. That's powered by automation, right? If we were to go to a request, so for the fully built out app, that was, for the business use case that I showed you. Where did it go? Right, for this one, when we submit a form, so pretend this is this is an internal Microsoft form, right? This information goes to SharePoint by automation, right? We then could take a look at the requests here, right, that are coming in. We can delete. That's powered by automation. Us being able to write to these fields is automation. We could then take automation to do additional things just from the app. We can send emails, we can create files, we can create new rows in a SQL table, we can post to social media, we can do whatever it is. So in this way, we're tying two things together, because if we were just using the app itself alone isn't powerful enough. We actually need Power Automate in the background to be able to add additional features that we would want, maybe things that you do by hand. Maybe it's when a new request is submitted, you send a Teams message to somebody. Maybe it's you need to create a meeting invite, right? Maybe it's you need to create a new Excel workbook, a new OneNote notebook. Maybe it's you need to refresh a Power BI data set, right? You wouldn't be able to do that with just the app alone, but we can create things in the app that would allow us to do the rest of it. Does that make sense? Elvis,
Elvis?
think does that make a little bit more sense? Oh, I think oh, there he is.
Yes,
Oh,
it
yes,
does,
yes.
Azure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so sorry, what I will do is I will put together like a more comprehensive video so that you can see it all in action, right? I'll toggle through screens. Just think that like software development and software engineering can get a little complicated, right? We use so many different things with automation that normally we'd have to do by hand, right? If somebody, submits a request, we'd have to do a tweet by hand. We'd have to send an email by hand. And now okay, great, Elvis, good to hear. Now we have the option of doing a lot more. Maybe you're constantly creating PowerPoint presentations for templates for a meeting. You could have automation fill in some things. Maybe you're using SharePoint as your data source or SQL or whatever, and you just need to create some, an outline of a PowerPoint presentation. You could do that with automation. One of the use cases that I had using a Power App was the Power App is the user interface, right? It's the part where you put information in. Automation can do things on the back, and then we could even display this information in a Power BI dashboard. And I have use cases like that at other businesses where people would submit, a safety event. Maybe somebody had a slip, trip, or fall, an electrical hazard or something at work. They would use a Power App to submit, hey, there's been an emergency incident, right? Power Automate would then go on the back end and say, okay, well, who did the incident affect? Who's their manager? We need to send them paperwork to fill out so we get all the details on this before our team can start an investigation. Normally, this would be a manual process. You'd email the person and their manager, copy, a template of some sort from SharePoint. If it's a, Word document with information, you'd rename it, you drop it in a SharePoint or into Teams or email it to a person. And then you got to wait for them to respond to it and let them know that it's, let you know that it's done. And then blah, 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 blah. In this case, we automated the whole process. So when somebody submitted an incident through the app, Power Automate went in, said, okay, well, we were gathering all the information. We're going to send a confirmation email to the people to say, hey, we got your thing. We then went and made copied templates of the paperwork that was needed, renamed them to the specific incident, dropped them in a folder in SharePoint, and then sent that link out with all the details to the affected person and their manager in an adaptive card in an email. And then they were able to press buttons to say when they were done with it. If they didn't do it within 24 hours, automation had this whole thing on a loop. So it would then send the person an email saying, hey, reminder, your preliminary forms haven't been filled out. And so the safety team can't begin their investigation. And so that would just keep going. The safety team didn't have to reach out to anybody anymore at this point prior to that paperwork being filled out, right? They didn't have to remember to do reminders anymore because automation was doing it for them. They didn't have to create paperwork anymore. They didn't have to reach out to people anymore. When the person was done with their paperwork, they pressed a button in an email that then sent a message to the safety team that said, hey, so-and-so's completed their paperwork, right? And they had a status list that they could monitor just in SharePoint because that was our data source. So they could see if somebody hadn't, filled out their paperwork yet, if it was over, we had a on the loop, if it was greater than 7 days and the person hadn't filled out their paperwork, it then went overdue. And then the safety team got another message that says, okay, now you may have to do some manual follow-up. It could be like the person went on vacation or something. So there's so many different scenarios that you could use with automation. I say to start small. Think of very routine processes that you do on an everyday basis. It could be for you. It could be for your department. If it's you need to go check a table somewhere for changes every day, maybe you just write a workflow to email you what's changed in it, or to send you an alert when something's changed. Perhaps it's I had a reminder every Friday to remind me to submit my timesheets. Trying to think what else we had. We had if we needed to get a copy of a file that was edited every week, and we only need to know that it was edited and ready, we would just copy whatever file was in SharePoint and stick it in somewhere else so we could display it. So it kind of cut down on a lot of manual work. But if you need to gather information first, right, maybe this Power App is the way to go, if that makes sense. I know we're a little bit over time. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay. What I'm going to do is, because I have a few of your emails, I am going to, instead of going through the resource and everything, I'm going to send you an email using Flow with a list of resources for you to get started on your journey with Power Apps, Power Automate. I'm sure you've already received some before. And I know we all have kind of our personal, people that we like to follow online when we're developing. So I'll also send some of my personal recommendations for what I think is helpful for learning Power Apps and Power Automate, and my contact information. So if you have questions, if you get started and you get stuck, you can reach out to me, and I'm totally willing to help.
Yes, Ayih, thank you very much for your presentation at past midnight. Is it 4 a.m. or 5 a.m.?
It's 5 a.m. now here for me.
Oh my. We are almost taking supper. Oh, no, lunch, not supper, here in Kenya. And it was really action-packed, and we really appreciate. Please share the links to your social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, so that we can be able to share or have access to you. She's so much available and willing to help, and I really appreciate that. So if you send her a chat when she can, she will always message you back with your questions. So don't worry about that. So for Rachel, the presentation that she was to do at the end, she'll send a video because her desktop has not been able to open. And maybe before we wind up, maybe Ayih, you could tell us what advice do you have for a beginner, total beginner, on the Power Platform? What approach should they take? Because at times you find the resources are so many online,
Yes.
and it's hard to know which to follow. And if you start on Microsoft Learn, they give you just a bunch of so many pages. I can visualize close to 1,000 pages, and you're like, oh, where should I start? So maybe
Your
you
eyes
can
start
just
to glaze
give us
over.
that. Yeah.
Sure. So I think with Power Automate, personally, I think Power Automate is the hardest to learn of all of the platform. Power Automate and Power Virtual Agents go together. And I say that because there are so many different use cases. When you learn how to build an app, you learn how to put a screen in and build some controls in, right? You build an app, you build a screen, you have a drop-down menu that you can add. You can add a choice column, you can add a single line of text column, right? Very basic. But there are so many different use cases for Power Automate, it's hard to know where to start. I like to start in templates. I'm also going to link to you guys like an intro session that I've done. I know Rachel's, going to have one too, more information, the merrier, right? Learning from two different sources. But I like to look at here, I can show you here that if you go to the Power Automate homepage, it's got a bunch of examples for you to be able to learn. So there's the Microsoft Learn information here, but there's also templates that are already built for you to play around with. There's a few here, but if you go to this side on the left-hand side, you can search in the templates for a keyword for something you were trying to do. So if you're working with something with SQL, somebody might have already built exactly what you're looking for. It shows you the different types of flow. So you can do scheduled. So it can do, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 2 p.m. You have automated that when something happens, right? You receive an email, you can save the attachments. There's also, you push a button and, something will happen. I like templates because they're built for you. And then you can modify them. So let's see, for example, let's just click on this one for fun. I don't really use, actually that's not going to work because I don't use Yammer on this account. So let's do forms. That's going to make me set up a notification. Sometimes, let's see, forms. Okay, let's do an email for forms, right? We actually did this already. When somebody submits a form, we said send an email. We built that from scratch because as you get better at it, you will start building it from scratch. But here, this is already built out. You can delete things, you can add things to them. So I say take a look at the templates to see if there's something already created for you that you may not have like the skill set yet to use. Use the Microsoft Learn resources. If you have questions, the Power Users forms, just Google what you're looking for. There's guaranteed to come up an answer. Just put in a couple keywords and Power Automate. A couple of keywords, if you're using like, how do I do X, Y, and Z in SQL? The Power Users forums, I'll include that as a resource. They're like chat rooms, very helpful. If you get stuck, come to Twitter. If you have a Twitter account, put your question out on Twitter and use the hashtag Power Automate or Power Platform. There are a bunch of us that spend way too much time on there and will answer your question too. And then also YouTube is a really valuable resource. So if you're looking for how to do something with a certain application, type that into YouTube. So SharePoint, create item, Power Automate, and you're going to find a ton of resources there too. So when you're starting to build your flows, I say, like I said, start small. Don't think of an entire business process. Sometimes it's what is one thing that you can do in that process right now that's manual that you can automate. Maybe it's you are taking attachments from an email and saving them if they're from a certain person. Automate that. If it's another bigger business process, just find one chunk of that to start, because if you try to do the whole entire thing at one time, you're going to get stuck and maybe a little frustrated too. I think those are kind of my my tips. So templates, Microsoft Learn material is very good. YouTube, if you get stuck, and Googling. Googling is, Rachel will tell you too, Googling is a huge thing, and Twitter, we're always asking for help on Twitter too. So I would say those are my methods to help people.
Okay, yeah. That's very, very much informative, and we appreciate. Yeah. So before we allow you to go back to sleep, I think members, thank you for joining this meetup, and the speakers have been great. We attest to that, even though we have given them very few minutes, 45 minutes, in the interest of time. But they have done an incredible job, from Ritika to Tchesco to Rachel and to Azure. And we welcome you all to Kenya, because yes, we have met virtually, but please come. This is a good place. We are on the equator. The sun is always here. We don't have fluctuations. So yeah,
that sounds
welcome.
great to me because it's cold. It's like 0 C here.
Yeah. And it's not that cold. So just a brief update. We'll have a physical meetup next year around July, like we did this year in July. So expect an update on that. I shared a link to the WhatsApp for our physical, okay, for the WhatsApp group for the Kenyan Dynamic 365 group. So please join the WhatsApp group so that you can be able to engage and chat. It's easier and faster there. And I thank you for joining. Before I close, for those who like to learn about Microsoft Dynamics 365, I also am a YouTuber on Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. Okay, let me share the link to the WhatsApp. But before that, let me share the link to my channel. This is my YouTube channel for those who like to learn about Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central. To explore and learn more about it, you can go there and see beginner-friendly videos are there. I will reshare the link to the WhatsApp. And I would like to invite one of the leaders who is in the chat, one of the leaders of Dynamics 365 Kenya, Chacha, to close for us. Chacha, are you there?
Hello, yes, Msangi, I'm here.
Yes. We are waiting for your closing remarks.
Okay, thank you anyway. Well, from my end, I'll just start by thanking you all, the wonderful speakers we've had, for kindly donating their time to share their valuable experience with us. It has been great. It's a great event, actually. On behalf of Kenya Dynamic User Group members, we sincerely appreciate you all, Azure, Ritika, Rachel, and Tchesco something. I know the name is a bit tricky, so you don't mind. So it has been a great honor from our end. We believe we'll keep having the interaction more often as we explore this great thing of Microsoft Power Platform. And in a nutshell, I'd also wish to thank every participant for bringing the expertise, the experience around the table and engaging in such a fruitful, constructive, and a very open exchange throughout the session. We are looking ahead to having much more similar events and explore more on Microsoft Power Platform. So on behalf of Dynamic User Group, I'd say we are so much grateful for all the participants. Let's keep interacting more often. Let's keep sharing the knowledge. Let's keep building ourselves in the techie world. And I believe much shall be achieved. Otherwise, thank you so much. Let's meet for our physical meeting next year. But however, that does not mean that we keep off again and we resurface during another meeting. Let's keep interacting with each other. Otherwise, thank you very much. And I wish you a great day. Back to you, Msangi.
Okay, thank you, Chacha. And guys, we are free to leave unless you have any question. Anybody with a question? I believe not. So for those who are going back to sleep, have a good night. And for those who are going for lunch, have a nice lunch. When we meet in the physical meetup, we'll have snacks. So for today, I will send you virtual snacks.
Okay.
Oh, not in Germany. Germany, you are sleeping. Or what is it? Sadat. Okay.
I will go to have some lunch. Hi, everyone.
Oh, you're going to have some lunch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
I still have 1 hour, but yeah, but I will go in 1 hour.
What time is it in your place?
It's 11:18.
Oh, 11:18. Okay, here in Kenya, it's 1:18 p.m. Yeah.
Ah, okay, it's afternoon.
Yes, afternoon.
Yeah.
Actually, past lunch. Yeah.
Past lunch, yeah.
Welcome
Nice.
to the group. You can join a group. I hope the sessions were informative.
I hope so.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.